All right, we're ready to get going. First order of business. Just a few minutes ago, I said that we were going to recess until tomorrow. Let's go ahead and make that official, and if somebody would give me a motion to approve that recess to continue today's Commissioners Court meeting until tomorrow at 9 a.m.
I'll make it motion.
Motion's made by Commissioner Fields, second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor say aye. All right, that'll be first order of business at 9 a.m. in the morning to come back and discuss that one item, the Belf subdivision. All right, going to open up today's meeting that was to begin at 10 o'clock. We're running a little bit behind, but we've notified everyone we can get a hold of, and we're going to go ahead and get started here. We've got our first appointee is our county attorney's office and our Shane Wynn from our adult probation.
Shane called me this morning and he said he doesn't have any changes.
Okay. You can give all his money to the county attorney.
Right now he agrees to do that. Now in the future he may have different thoughts about it. So.
Okay. All right.
John Mark's office, the only question we're asking for there is a part-time employee.
Make sure that's working. And,
Good morning. Yes, it is. Okay, so Paul and I are here today representing the County Attorney, John Mark Coburn. We all know he's in Army duty. So the reason why we're here, we would like to ask for this budget to please have a part-time scanner. As we all know, as of January, we have had 600 cases and still counting. Our workload has been overloaded, and we need a part-time scanner for that person to actually scan our rejected, refusal, our new, I guess, cases into our Drobo. A Drobo is a software. It's a internal, I guess,
hard drive.
A hard drive that John Mark has paid out of his own pocket, and we have not put it to, I mean, we have put it to use, but not as much. That is connected with net data, and it is connected with the server that we have. So that's an external hard drive that it connects with, you know, net data, with cable and stuff. Oops, sorry. And so we're asking for a part-time person. That way that person could help us out.
Can you tell us a little bit more? How many hours? How many months?
29 hours, only part-time. 29 hours per week. Mr. Carl and Christy, we got to figure it out and stuff, how much that's going to cost us and such. We've been asking for one. I've been asking for one for over 2 years, and I haven't had the chance and opportunity to actually get that. So I would greatly please appreciate it.
You got one right now.
Yes, I got one right now. I have a part-time person right now, and they are very handy. Also, that helps us with the storage. We have run out of storage room. We have used one of the rooms that is the clerk's room to put our boxes in there because we have no room. I mean, you go into the room that we have, that we call it our storage, you literally have to walk sideways like this. There is no room. I have plenty of boxes. Mr. Alredo knows I still have boxes over there in the district. So I think that if we have a part-time person, which is a scanner, that would eliminate some of the problem for storage and everything else.
Is Mr. Coburn going to be willing to digitally store
Yes.
this stuff and,
Yes.
and stop producing paper?
Yes. Yes. We had started shredding.
I need to know that.
Yes, we had started shredding everything. Yes, we have. All the cases that we have on those boxes, I have asked him, can we start shredding? And he said yes. That would eliminate some of the problems. So yes, sir, we have.
Okay. Who said that?
Mr. Coburn.
John Mark. John Bailey?
No, John Mark. John Mark.
Oh, John talked to him before, and he wouldn't let us get rid of some of those boxes.
Well, the boxes that we have now, once we scan them into this.
Then you can get rid of them?
Yes, sir.
Is this part-time or just a full-time?
No, it is a part-time.
Well, you mean we're going to use them for 2 months, and then we're going to get caught up, and then we're going to do it? It's going to be one of them government jobs where we get paid every month, they're 29 bucks for
It's going to be
20
one of those things that I really can't say how long it's going to take to scan all those boxes. If you look in our storage room, we have over 200 boxes, and the person comes in 29 hours a week. So however long it takes them to scan, that's however long we're going to use them. After we're done scanning, then we're done using them.
Do we need to be prepared for this to be a 52-week
That's what I thought.
job?
That's-
Because that's.
I think so. I think so, yes, sir. Just to make sure that we actually have everything scanned.
Is Jessica part-time?
No, she's full-time.
Well, who's your part-time employee?
I don't think you've met her. Her name is Lisa Contreras. She's a senior in high school.
How long has she been working?
She's been working for us for,
She's the one that I talked to you about, that we took that from the, out of your surplus.
Yeah, I'm just trying, but how long is that? So she's actually started, see, I didn't even know that.
yeah, she already started. She's been with us, what,
Like a month.
maybe a month now. Yeah, and we have gotten rid of a lot of stuff within,
Well, is she the one that's going to be filling this role that
Yes.
we're talking about?
yes,
She's your daughter?
yes. Or we could get somebody else. I said we could get somebody else. I don't oppose to that. As long as we have a part-time person to scan everything, I don't mind.
What we've done so far is, there was some extra money from the excess for the county judge's supplement. There's extra money in there. That's what we used to pay for it for this year. There's nothing there to do that. When we get to the end of this year, we had to have the county judge's approval to do it. So we used that money.
Now, does that continually generate that
Sometimes it generates
surplus?
some new money. Not a lot. I'm gonna say it's like $1,200, $1,500 a year or
And
something.
it may not be, sometimes it may be $200, sometimes it may be $1,500. The reason there's a lot in there now is because
It's
this,
built up over
since
time.
Danny Pat was here. And I didn't want to touch it because I wasn't for sure what we could use it for. And so I did research on it and everything, and I talked to Judge Lee and John Mark, and they both agree that that money can be used for the salary. And we also bought them some scanners the other day that they really needed.
Yes, and the scanners, they're not just any scanners. It has to be a net data. It has to be enabled to scan into the system. So it's not just any
But
scanners.
for next year, if you're gonna continue to fund the scanning, like the girl to do the scanning, you're gonna have to pay for it in the budget because it's not gonna be any county judge something money or a grant. I don't know how much.
Okay, so if you put a quantity to an annual
Well, I did
budget,
950 times 29 times 52 hours. The 52 weeks is like 14,326. You gotta pay payroll taxes on that. I don't know whether they're gonna let us get away with it being I think we can argue that she's not required to be in retirement because as soon as the boxes are all scanned.
It's done, yeah. As soon as the boxes are scanned, she's done.
Permanent part-time, you'd have to do retirement on it, is that right?
See, right now, we probably are taking retirement out, but we can stop that. If it's gonna be I was thinking if it's a permanent scanner, it would, permanent part-time, we have to take
What you're telling me,
retirement.
that's not what it's gonna be.
No, it's just going to
you
be,
don't think that's a little,
Well, I mean, she should have them all scanned. She's done a whole lot already so far, right?
so far we have gotten rid of a lot of boxes. I mean, we have taken, Mr. David and Ms. Relva have taken black trash bags after black trash bags. I mean, it's been an on and on situation.
okay.
So, I mean,
I think once you got caught up, they could do the scanning themselves on that.
yes, once we're caught up doing, I mean, we're talking about 2009 cases, 2008 cases that John Mark does not want to get rid of. We all know how explicit he is about, getting rid of them. Once we scan him and put him into the system, then he's okay with shredding that paperwork. This falls before I even started working here, before our time.
You know, I don't understand this. Why we gotta scan this stuff? We've already got that here. Why are we gonna do, we just create ways to spend money.
Because,
We do
Mr.
that-
Riddle,
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Please. We have these files already. Okay, now we're gonna have new files coming in. How many cases you gonna do? So we start scanning.
We're
We
scanning
scan
old
all.
cases.
You're gonna scan all the old cases?
Yes. And here's the reason why. We had a murder charge not too long ago. We rejected that charge. If it wasn't for the fact that that paperwork was scanned, there was no way you could have found that in those boxes downstairs. It would have taken you hours. It took me 3 hours to find one file for a judgment not signed. I mean, there's paperwork behind. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you understand what we have to go through. We spent 3 hours looking for one file in that closet. I mean, just for one file, okay? And if it wasn't for the fact that if we would have had already that scanned, it wouldn't have taken me 3 hours out of my time. I had to stop what I was doing just to go find that.
We're the only county around their size that has a county investigator and all of the other stuff.
I'm not talking about the county investigator. I just need a scanner.
We have the biggest budget of probably any county attorney around, so
I just need a. Do you think that you can come out with another conclusion?
Hey, let's go one at a time. Let's let Commissioner Reynolds
Okay.
finish. I'd like to hear what his point is.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
The point
Commissioner.
is, we're just creating another position. And there has to be something we've been doing without this position. We can make a change somewhere. Somebody can do it. We can figure out how to do it. And maybe we do need some part-time for a while. But to make a permanent part-time position is absolutely irresponsible on the commissioner.
Throw out a suggestion. I'm willing to listen.
Well, I'm saying maybe we need a part-time job, but why do we want to go through all those other boxes over there that we've already got? That's done. They're not in very good order either, I can tell you, the boxes.
They're not scanned.
No, that's what I said. Well, why do we want to go back 5 years, 10 years now and scan those boxes? And John said that we can get rid of, or he said he couldn't get rid of them. He talked to Chuck Bailey. He said we should hold on to some of those that was up in that room. We went through them and burnt several boxes of records, but they're still, and now they put more over there. The county attorney put a bunch more over there. And so,
Over where?
over on top of that annex, and they're very disorganized, very hard.
You have some files in the annex?
Those files at the annex were part of before Mr. Coburn was the county attorney. That was back when Mr.
We're not going to scan those.
No, we're not going to scan
Can
those.
those be trashed at some point?
Yes, but Mr. Coburn talked to Mr. Chuck Bailey. Mr. Chuck Bailey keeps his cases for 10 years. That's one of the reasons why John Mark doesn't want to get rid of those cases.
I understand, but is everything since the annex over 10 years old?
I believe so, yes,
It's
sir.
effectively trash. It could be trash.
Yes, but Mr. Coburn does not want to get rid of them just
I
yet.
understand, but the documents you're talking about scanning all reside in the main courthouse at this time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And those are the only ones that we need scanning,
Okay.
just to have it in order as
Back
backup.
to what you were saying.
Yeah, and I'm saying that probably some of those shouldn't be scanned too, but I'm saying to create a permanent position, is just, I think that we need to scan some of them, but I don't think it should be an everyday job. As we go through them, it should be scanned, rather than creating a position, but what I know.
Well, do you want to, you have several options. You can put a limit on the number of weeks that you're going to allow a part-time person. And I hear what you're saying, that if you create this, the chances of eliminating that job, even after the scanning is done, it's going to be hard to say goodbye to that person. I mean, we all know that that's how it works. Now, I'm not saying you don't need her. I'm just saying, should we consider some kind of a restriction on how long this job goes? Do you all have any thoughts on that?
Well, I was thinking that as soon as those boxes are done, which, I mean, we're going by them pretty fast, then that's it, you know. I don't know how long it would take for all those boxes to be scanned, Judge. I can't give you a timeline. I really honestly can't.
Like 6 months?
Maybe 6 months, you know, maybe even less than that. But I mean, I was just saying, you know,
Do you feel like once y'all get those, that if she's just scanning the old stuff, y'all can be scanning the current stuff?
yes,
Are y'all already scanning
yes,
the current stuff?
yes, yes.
You can always find something to do. I'd rather see us set a time.
Yeah.
We'll use it through
Yeah.
September or this and the summer months or whatever, and then stop that, because you'll always find something else to do. At least any business the only business that I know I've ever done, I could always get somebody else. Even around my house, I could get some more stuff done.
All right, get on with it.
I needed that too.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is, if we scan that information in, we can make it retrievable. there's boxes of, I'll call it crap, because you can't find anything in those boxes over there. But if you scan it in, then I can go in there, search for that name, and find it every time, and can pull it up. So it's all about really organization of your records more than it is, and being able to store it, because you can go into that room that Esther's talking about. You can't walk through there now. And that's the most, yeah, you can just keep throwing them in boxes and
I
stack
think
up
we're
the
all,
money.
I think everyone up here is supportive of what you're describing
Okay.
And y'all
there.
don't put anything for anything else in the box, because you're telling me you're scanning it every day now, so there's nothing new being added to those boxes, right?
No, not right now, there's not.
Okay. So what his philosophy is, if we're going to, not careful, we're going to create a new position. Now, I know what kind of workload you all have, and I know how much you all work. But if we're just creating a scanner position only, and that's all you're asking for, then let's put a limit on that. And if we have to come back and say, well, you know what, now we found something else we need to do, let's address that at that time. We've always can reconsider something like that. But Commissioner Riddle, if you want to suggest something, or if you all want to suggest putting a time frame on this rather than just leaving it open-ended, because I do think that that's probably pushing the law if we just say, oh, we're not going to pay them retirement because it is we don't think that this is going to go on forever. I think if we give it a definition of 6 months or whatever, I think we're okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
6 months will be fine. I mean, we'll try to push
Do
it.
you realistically think that'll do it?
We can try, Judge.
She knows more about those records than I do.
Well, she's still got 3 months left in this budget year.
That's right.
You know, you don't even get to the new budget until October 1st. So
October, November.
maybe 6 months will be December. That's only 3 months in the new year's budget.
Okay. Well, we can always reconsider or extend that. We've got contingency money, but let's go ahead and do a
Okay.
limitation. If 6 months is not out of the, if that's not just crazy, let's say 6 months for now.
Okay.
How many cases have y'all done so far this year?
600.
600. How much money does that bring in fines and court
Those are
costs?
already scanned. They're scanning all those.
I understand that, but
Just the old
there's a
cases.
fee, every time there's a case, there's fees and stuff paid.
I don't know that John could give us that figure, but that's who takes care of the money.
30 years ago, we were 16,000 people. We're 35 now. It hadn't been for the computers and those type things, there'd be twice as many employees.
Yeah, true.
That's right.
True.
You'd have copies.
You're doing everything by paperwork.
They have an efficient system down there. They have efficient employees. I'm here to tell you, and yes, the caseload is going up. We're losing the battle on crime, but there's a lot of reasons for that, I suppose.
I mean, if we're getting 80 cases per court docket.
Well, and you're getting lots and lots of
We're getting 80.
convictions.
We went from 40 to 80 now. We doubled it.
That's 80.5.
Yeah, that's 80 in the morning only. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, well,
Till
with,
December 31st, that'll be 3 months in the new budget. And 6 months total from now.
I was thinking 6 months into the new budget year, end of March.
Well, that's 9 months. That's a good.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Okay. Commissioner Riddle, how about that?
It don't make any difference. You know how I feel. Whatever.
Well, thank y'all for considering that, Judge.
Thank you so much, Judge.
Creative.
Well, I know that you need it, and in my opinion, you might need more than that, but that's just my opinion. If you're saying all she's going to be doing is scanning and there's a light at the end of that tunnel, then let's go ahead and fix it. And at the point when we need additional staff there and Mr. Coburn can lay out his plan there, then we'll listen. But let's just for now address what your specific needs are and meet that specific need. 6 months of the budget year, October through March, for this part-time salary, and that way we don't incur costs of retirement.
Thank you, Judge.
Y'all okay with that? Yes, sir.
Refer it over. Pretty good job.
Nothing else?
No, sir, we don't need anything else. Everything else is fine. We're very thankful for net data that you guys gave us last year. That has come a lot in handy, as a matter of fact. I had several attorneys actually from Dallas and Fort Worth area that love it. It has come a lot easier on us as well, you know, and our local attorneys are happy as well, so.
Very good.
That's one good thing. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good day.
Okay, Ms. Luann, welcome to 2018 Budget Workshop, 2000-2019. How's your husband doing?
He's doing good, doing pretty good.
100% these days?
No,
No?
no. So,
Sorry.
but much better, much better. So the Extension Office, which is Jennifer and I right now, we would like to propose that we keep the budget the same as last year, with the exception if the county employees get a raise, that she gets a raise. But other than that, I did talk to Dr. Miller Friday, and they are still looking for a replacement ag position.
What is the deal?
Well, the day after Kenny retired, the governor put a freeze on till October. That freeze was lifted, and other counties that had been vacant longer, and of course, Extension doesn't hire 100% coverage throughout the state, so how they balance the budget. And but Hurley informed me that he just really hasn't found a good match. So for example, he had somebody that's real big in crops. Well, we don't have crops.
Okay, I didn't know about the freeze, so that...
Yeah,
that
so almost a
explains it.
year or 10 months, we had a freeze.
Okay, all right.
So.
Well, he didn't mention that to me.
So we have still tried to carry on as far as pesticide, the master gardeners. Jennifer and I have just kind of hung in there. I've let some things slide, you know, that in my area, so that we can keep everybody happy.
Okay.
Are we still planning on our December meeting?
Yes, December meeting, yes.
Is that first Thursday in
I believe so.
December?
Yes, sir. Still.
I think that's real good, and I'd like to see that, keep that.
Every year, I mean, even before y'all leave, like when we're setting up, we set the date because we want to host it every year. So,
And it's good.
Thank you.
All the commissioners, judges I've talked to, they love it. It gives you a place to get those extra hours if you need them.
Okay, so it looks like, as I'm looking at here, you're requesting exact same dollars here, and obviously would like consideration for raises. We understand that, but we will factor what you requested here into our upcoming budget.
all right.
Okay. That question you had about that expense for education, did you ask?
I'll talk to them,
Okay.
and I'm gonna get the name of the governor.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to them, and I'll talk to them. Because they gave us different information. They said that place said that they paid for it, but Luis said they did not pay for it.
Okay, and you don't have any travel. Well, you do have some
Our
travel.
travel budgeted in there.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a matter of not being in the budget, it's a matter of
Well, I guess that information, that if anything required, they pay for it, supposed to submit your expense report to them. That's what I'm told.
Kind of how they worded it, they don't require, so that they don't have to pay, I guess, they don't require, it's highly recommended that
Why
we.
now? They require you to do the training?
Two of those trainings were said that it's highly recommended that you be there. Everybody shows up. I guess that's how they.
We don't pay travel for other people that just go to it, because somebody recommended it. We pay for required training.
I guess it's.
And that's exactly what the guy in the agriculture department told me.
If they highly recommend it, I think they're required to take that.
So we do pay for some now, because the sheriff's department, they send people to those different schools. They're not required to go to those schools, but it's highly recommended. Like, I can't think of some of the schools, some of them where they're,
You get extra training,
yeah, you get an extra
continuing
training on
education.
how to arrest a juvenile or whatever it might, I don't know, the sheriff's here. But there's different, if y'all remember when we used to approve all those different classes, they would go to lots of different classes, particularly the sheriff's department. But they weren't required to keep their job. It's just recommended training, keep people from being in lawsuits and other things. So that may be how they get around this, if that's not required. Do they have any required training?
If they do a grant for us. So some of my travel is not on there. I've gotten a grant. So I actually apply for a grant. And like I know on one of my registrations, I applied for a grant and got some money off. So any opportunity I can apply to reduce the cost or share a hotel room, I share a hotel. So.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. We
All right.
appreciate it.
Appreciate your consideration. Thank y'all.
Tell Kenny hello.
All right.
All right, moving on into our DPS and weigh station. Gosh, I'm missing Sergeant Roney today.
Yes, sir. I'm Drew Neff. I'm representing Sergeant Roney. He had a staff meeting to go to.
Okay.
And he did tell me that he would just like to he's requesting to keep everything the same.
That is what I see in his handwriting here. No changes requested.
How many officers do y'all have now?
But we have 9 troopers, 6 here in Titus and 3 in Red River. Not counting license and weight. That's just highway patrol. That's not counting commercial vehicle enforcement.
Are y'all still having to go to the border?
No, sir. They stopped that. They stopped all that. They hired 500 troopers and put them down there on the border. So.
All right. Any questions from anyone? Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Tell Sergeant Roney hello. And
Ray's out here.
Is Crooks, the way station?
Ray's here? I thought Ray was not here. Why did I get confused?
No changes to the weigh station.
Ray's here.
The next one
The way station.
was next.
Yeah, weigh station was
But they
next.
said no changes on there.
Yeah, he said no changes on either one of those.
Weigh stations, no change.
All right, let me tell Carolyn something here.
Y'all haven't any idea when they had this 72-hour deal, how much money roughly? They had it.
I don't even know how to do this.
They had it. Well, that'd be precinct 2, that weigh station is in precinct 2, so.
Okay, Ray, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
So y'all are still playing ball, but you came
Yes, they're playing
back.
right now.
Well, I just
Yeah,
assumed
it's
that y'all had.
they just texted me, it's 4-3, we're down 1 in the second inning, so.
Okay.
So
All right.
This is my first budget hearings, because last 2 times I was out of town both times, so I don't know exactly how all this works, so.
Well, I'm just looking over any changes that you've got here. You've got a slight reduction to your travel seminars, and a slight increase to your other expense. Look, you're just shuffling money between those two, and then you've made a request here for a significant increase on your juvenile officer, OPC, or order of protective custody pay. And then you've given us a readout, a narrative here. So, dear Commissioners, I have asked for an increase in pay as the Order of Protective Custody Officer, or the Mental Health Officer. The reason for the request is over the last 3 years, the number of mental health transports as well as the number of emergency detentions and call-outs has risen. Being the mental health officer keeps you on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and a significant amount of the call-outs are at night, weekends, and holidays. This is the first increase in pay I've requested for being the mental health officer.
How do you pay them a trip, an hour, or what?
It's by the month. I mean, I get a certain amount for being the mental health officer.
You do what now?
I get a certain amount of money for being the mental health officer, so it's just part of my pay.
He
I
gets
get-
paid like $850 or $800 a month for OPC.
Yeah, it's by the month, just on my pay.
Have you kept up with those figures? I'm just curious how many
I
trips
don't have them down, but I keep up with all the transports that I do, how many I have, and one of the things that we're getting is we're getting a lot of other counties that are pushing their mental health consumers over into Titus County, and most of these counties won't come over and transport their own people, so I'm having to transport people from Paris and just all over different places, and it's not just Titus County. And there's nothing we can do about it. If they're here and another county won't come get them, I have to take them because we can't just leave them sitting there.
Do you have any idea how many times you have had to tell the hospital, no, I'm unable to transport? Because I still hear that mentioned by them, and I say, I'd sure like to see some stats on that.
Right.
In fact, I've even told them, will you call me if and when that happens? I never get a call.
Right. I don't think I've ever actually turned them down at all. Sometimes I have to put them off a little while if I've got other things going, or if I don't have a female deputy available to take a female patient. But I don't think I've ever actually just had to turn them down, to not take somebody, unless it was one where they tried to send somebody with me that was supposed to go by ambulance or something. But I don't turn them down. Sometimes if they call me at 11 or 12 o'clock at night and that patient's asleep, and because a lot of times they'll give them drugs that will knock them out, well, there's no sense in me going at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning because they're going to be asleep until in the morning anyway. So sometimes I put them off a little while. But
Has you postponing them ever, to your knowledge, resulted in them saying, well, we've got to get somebody else to do it? I mean, has that happened a few times?
There's been times by me putting them off a little while that they've sent them by ambulance or something like that, but they don't ever they've tried to get the county, the sheriff's department to transport them in that situation, but that's not their responsibility, and so they don't do it.
What automobile, you get paid $15,600, and I see a lot of times in constable cars, and those officers that take those people, they use constable cars too.
For the transport, yes, sir.
You don't use your own car. What do you use?
I did early on. I used my own vehicle some for that, but it just got to where it was really too big of a risk because the people that we transport, most of them are either suicidal or homicidal, and a lot of times they're both. And so it's just not safe to, if I've got them in my personal vehicle in the back seat, there's no way to keep them from, if they were wanting to just open the door and get out, they could. And then also I know,
I'd rather see you use constable car.
I know Constable Johnson had one actually took his pistol away from him one time while he was transporting, and it's just better to have them behind a secure cage and locked in to where they can't get to you. That's the reason I use the patrol car for that.
How many cars do you have in your precinct?
Well, I just have one now. I had two, but I had the air conditioning one out in one of the old cars, and so I went ahead and took the striping and everything off of it, and I'm going to turn it back in so it can be auctioned off. So I'm down to just one car.
What about the volunteers? The constables we got?
The reserve deputies?
Yes.
Right. I have one patrol car that they use.
They use another.
Y'all are all sharing the same.
We're all sharing the same car, yes, sir.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm down to just one. I had to put the other one down. It wasn't worth spending the kind of money I was going to have to spend to fix it.
But when you're in town, not making out-of-town mental health transports, you're using your vehicle.
I'm in my vehicle, not all the time. Every once in a while, there's a situation where I take a patrol car because it's necessary
needed.
to be. if I have to arrest somebody that's going to be violent or something, then obviously I'm not going to take my truck to do that because it's just not safe. But most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, I'm using my personal vehicle.
And I know you know this, I don't even have to ask you this, but I want the others to know this. When you're dealing with mentally ill, the mental patient, they say, is my understanding, this was said last year and they've said it in the past when we go to the commissioner's school, that you are to take that mental patient in an unmarked car.
That's right.
And what I'm saying, I think at some point in time, we need to try to get a car and put a cage in there because it's not supposed to be marked. That mentally ill person, they say, I need to use the restroom. You are to stop at the next available place for them to use the restroom.
That's right.
If they say they are hungry, you got to stop. If it's nothing but crackers and a Coke, you got to stop and feed them.
That's right.
Now that's law. We're going down, we're taking mentally patients. We need a car that doesn't have constable on it, because it says clearly that we're not supposed to do that, an unmarked car.
You're supposed to go in an unmarked car, and you're not supposed to be in any kind of uniform, but it does say in there, unless no other means are available.
There's no other means available.
And with us, there's not, because the only other means I have available is not safe, and so that makes it really not available. I had thought about possibly putting in for a grant. I was going to, run that through Commissioners Court first to see if I could get a grant. With me being the only certified mental health peace officer in this area, I've been told by several other people in the area that I would probably qualify pretty easy for something like that, because I'm the only one that does the transport. So that would be something we could look into, is getting a grant for that so the county's not having to pay for it.
I wonder if we could talk to the sheriff, if we can impound a car, or take a car that's been stolen, the insurance says keep it, whatever, if it's a decent car, we could put those cages in there, because I think we need to try to go by what the law says.
Right.
Mike, I got to tell you, I don't agree with you. For the frequency that we're doing this and under the circumstances, I do believe we have an out. I don't believe the county is liable, and for us to adhere to the letter of every single law, this one in this case, I personally don't feel like it's that big of a deal.
I'm just telling you what they told me at school.
I understand.
And
I understand, and in a perfect world, we'd do everything they suggested that we do, but I'd rather have those stickers on that car for in-town driving where the predominant use of that vehicle is, and I think that to have two vehicles when one vehicle would do it is not prudent use of county resources. And we've got to make do where we can, because we're under all kinds of, unfunded mandates, and that's just one of them right there.
Well, we got down to the one when the other vehicle broke down, and I decided not to fix it. We're down to one now, but I can survive with that one car. I can make do rather than go spend a bunch of money to try to get another car.
When you have an opportunity to get another vehicle, say from the sheriff's office, would you suggest that we keep it unmarked, or would you still go ahead and mark them both?
We could keep it unmarked just for the transport. We'd just be able to use it for the transport, and we'd be able to use it for anything else. But they've offered me one here recently, and I told them I don't want it just because I don't want to spend the extra money when I don't absolutely have to have it, because I can make do without it.
Okay.
I mean, as far as a second patrol car.
What were you saying, Mike?
This is what he said we were talking about a while ago. You have a patient comes to this hospital, they live in Paris, Texas. They're mentally ill. They're going to commit them. The hospitals up there may not take them. I don't know. I don't know what the deal, but we do get a lot of mental patients. I do know that Mount Vernon one time had a person up at the truck stop up there, and they put him in the Mount Vernon police car. This was Mount Vernon, not the sheriff's department. Brought him to Mount Pleasant, let him out right out there.
Yeah, we used to have a lot of that going on when I was with the police department. Counties taking them from one county line to the other and dropping them off. And Paris is one of the ones that's bad about, they won't come get their people. They'll tell you if they came to Mount Pleasant and they're evaluated there, then they're your responsibility. Mount Vernon does pretty good. They'll send a guy over Dangerfield does pretty good, but Paris is one of those that they won't send anybody. They said, no, it's Mount Pleasant's responsibility. It's really not, but at the same time, we can't just leave them sitting here, and we've got to do it if nobody else is going to, so.
On your budget in here, like for tires and gas and stuff like that, do you have that figured in, the trips?
No, on our gas budget, the gas and oil, the maintenance to the cars comes out of that, and I just did buy new cars for my patrol car, which really put me up there pretty close on my gas and oil this year, but I'm still in good shape right now, I think. But if I have to have any kind of work, if my car breaks down, then I'm going to be in trouble. And they're older cars, and they're pretty wore
Add
out.
some to that.
Well, I got a contingency, if it has to be paid for, if it breaks down, we'll just pull it out of contingency, put it over there, and I'll do it until you need it.
And they've done really good with moving stuff around, to try to cover things, because there's a lot of times I don't frivolously spend money out of other budget areas, and so if I start running low on gas and oil, they can take out one that I haven't spent much out of, so I'm in good shape. I'm in good shape budget-wise. I mean, I'm making it good. I mean, we move it around enough to make everything work, so.
Okay. Yeah, but if something comes up, we need to, we can take it out of contingency.
Right, or move it out of another line item somewhere else.
But the car that broke down on me that I went ahead and unstriped and everything, it's not worth fixing. It's going to cost probably close to $1,000 to fix it.
Or not. If it's not worth it, don't put money
Yeah,
into it.
no, that's why I said it's just, it's not worth spending the money on, so.
Okay.
Well, to support your request for additional pay as the OPC officer, I think it'd be good to see some statistics there.
Okay.
Maybe give us three or 4 years of stats if you can do that.
Okay.
Guys, you have any other questions here for Ray? As far as I'm concerned, Ray's been very responsive to me and to the hospital with these. I have taken over the mental health responsibilities from the JPs, and I've got a lot better feel for how many trips he's making, and Ray's always seems to be there when we need him to go, and that's usually at a rather inconvenient time.
While we're here, about the thing I talked about a grant, would that be something that would be, that y'all would allow me to look into? Is a grant for one of those cars? That way the county's not spending any money. It would all be
Absolutely. Any grant money you can get, we'll take.
I've never done a grant, so I'm going to have to get with the sheriff's office and kind of figure out how it works.
It's got to be a good thing to get started on.
Okay.
I've worked with a lot of grants, and I don't mind helping you.
Okay.
I am the grand queen.
She's got a lot of spare time, too.
Yeah,
She can't write it for you, now that's.
Yeah, but-
We just have to account for it.
Right.
and I need to be there at the beginning. So, and also just keep watch and in mind the county match. Some of the grants may not have required county match, but then some 10
Oh, okay.
or 25.
I mean, they'll put in a certain amount if the county matches it.
Right, so we'll
Okay.
need to know, I mean, it probably won't.
Gonna do that, then we'd have to go back to court, because they'll have to come up with whatever money it is.
Okay.
We don't have a budget in that.
Do you carry a body camera?
I carry a body camera, yes, sir. We
Do
don't have
your-
any cameras in our cars, so.
Okay. That's what I was looking at. Do your volunteers have body cameras as well?
They do. We have 3 for our office, and I
Okay.
gave
You're
3 to the-
adequately equipped as far as body equipment?
I think that came through grants, didn't it?
I had a guy that donated them.
Donation, yeah, for him and Kristen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got 6 or 7 of them he gave to us.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Thank you very much.
Yes,
If you
sir.
maybe get us those stats as we wind down. Giving out raises is tough to do when
Oh, I
nobody
understand.
else is giving raises, but doesn't hurt to ask. But if you had some kind of supportive documentation, at least that would, give us something to consider. But it is tough to give out additional money. But document it and show the increase in those, and that would be a good justification.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the consideration. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm just going to keep on doing what's got to be done, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay, our next one is Chris Durant, who has been, I believe, told to hold off a little. And since Chris is not, have you seen Chris? I think we told
No, we
Chris
haven't seen him.
I think we told Chris to delay his meeting, and that's why he's not here. So this would be a good time to slip you in.
He doesn't have any change except for a salary increase anyway.
The only thing I asked for is to give my employees a raise. That's it. Y'all gonna do it?
I don't know.
Look at, no, you want. Is it looking good, Carl?
I haven't really talked to him yet.
Oh, okay. Y'all need anything from
I
me?
talked to some of them, but I don't know.
No changes.
This is your last budget.
It's your last-
Hold on.
This is my last budget.
What, and you may have an idea on this, every time we run that 72 hours, do you know about how much money that brings in?
Well, that's why I came early. I was hoping that Sergeant Drummond was gonna be here because I was gonna ask him why they keep filing stuff in case court when it's clearly my court, to which sometimes it gets dismissed and you're not collecting any money. And so I was,
What is case court? What does that mean?
But from precinct.
whenever they do it on the computer over there at the way station, they're putting in it that it goes to case court.
Oh, K.
K.
I think it said CASE.
Oh,
K's
no.
court.
Anyway, and so, you know, lawyers say, oh, we gotta dismiss that, you know, because it's filing the wrong court.
Have you called about that? Drummond again?
Is Drummond around?
I don't know. They didn't have
Because
anybody
Curtis is
here
supposed
today.
to be here today, because usually Drummond has been here. But last year and this year, he hasn't been.
But there's, you know, out-of-town troopers come in to work the way station, you know, and so I'm sure it's just whatever's, I don't know what they do, but somehow you pull up the precinct, they don't know, so I guess they don't care, whatever, and I was gonna,
Well, how could we catch that? Could Kay's office say, oh, no, sorry, you're filing it in the wrong place, or do they not know it either? Well, I mean, that's a legitimate question, and if we're dismissing cases that have got significant fees attached to them, that needs to be stopped.
I agree, that's why I was gonna talk to Drummond, maybe you could put like some.
I'd give you his phone number.
Holidays and JP2 court, you know.
I'll go see him.
I've got his phone number.
Okay.
Will you call him?
Well, I mean, it's got, the troopers are the one that needs to know.
Well, he's their boss.
Okay. If he's not been at work for 6 months, then, because he has PTSD or something, I don't know.
Well, Captain Scullin would be probably an even better one to talk to.
Fair enough.
No, I'm asking you to do that. Could you do that?
That, the biggest part of the troopers know where to file it in. I don't even know who that guy is. I've never seen him before.
Captain Scullin?
Never heard of him.
Just pick up the phone and call him and say, this came up during budget discussion, and I have reason to believe that we're having some cases dismissed because they're not being filed in the correct JP office. I would think that he would respond to that.
That's the
But
first
it's
time I've heard his
it's
name.
costing the state money too. It's dismissed.
Oh, everybody knows.
Now, that's Thelma that used to work up here in the county clerk's office that retired, that's her son. that's who it is.
Really? Really? I thought he was a parent.
Who are you talking about?
What's that? Thelma Scullin, she used to work in the county clerk's office and retired several years ago. And because he had come in our office with some questions and.
Who is Thelma Scullin?
She's just somebody that's from here that retired. We know her, I mean, before you, yeah.
Didn't she work in my office for like a day?
Yes, she worked back years ago before Carl came in.
Oh, when I came in, she
Oh, she was.
Are you thinking she's related?
I started, that's what I did.
Sorry, Scullin is her son.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't realize when we started talking when he came in, the office here.
That's when Thelma and Louise worked in the office.
Yes, Louise retired. Down quick.
Carl Raymond.
I remember.
So that's who's in charge of license and weight now?
I don't know. I don't know who's in charge of that. I don't visit with those guys. I just know that he's the boss man up there.
Okay.
And if he's not, he'll,
He's a head knocker?
as far as I know, yeah.
Okay.
He's the captain. He's got that in his title.
Okay.
Must
Well,
not be.
anyway, I mean, you know, if they come in, it's understandable, you
I don't know
know.
if he's on that, but they're the GPS guys going.
I mean, they know that
He worked around here.
follow the right precinct, but maybe they just don't know they're not following the right precinct. But, I mean, they're
If
from
it
here.
happens at all, they apparently don't know.
Yeah.
And that should be a pretty easy edict to give to everybody. Hey, fellas, PlayStation's in precinct 2. You've got to be filing precinct 2. If you file it in the wrong precinct, we might have a case dismissed that y'all worked so hard to get.
That'd be great. So maybe, you know, if they just put something maybe up there, some kind of message.
Well, let them worry about that. Okay, well,
Anyway, is
Commissioner,
there anything else?
no? Not that I know of.
Carl, are you finished with that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, later.
When was the last time they replaced your computer equipment? Are we still kind of doing that?
You bought it, what, 2 years ago? You replaced everything you had, or last, I think it was year before last,
Been 2 years?
maybe.
Good.
Because she has,
Well, that money, I want you to buy computers.
Why don't you let Irma do that? What I gotta do?
yeah, because she replaced them all. She's got, how much money do you have in there?
Yeah, Chrissy said it.
There's about 14,000 in there for technology.
That's a lot of computers. We buy a lot of computers for $8,000.
But keep in mind, the way the law works is we can't, you have to buy them for you, and then you
I
have
know,
to
she
get
can buy,
us.
but she can buy you a new one every month for 12 months.
Well, I talked to Sean and Seth at the meeting that they were where we on with all the department heads, and he said that all of the departments are really in good shape right now and actually not
That's who you need.
budgeting. In fact, I requested them to be here.
He's going to come tomorrow and talk to us about that.
Okay.
He's coming at 10, I can't remember. No, I told him to come at the very end at 12:45
Okay.
tomorrow.
But he did say overall that the county is really in good shape with computers.
Sean Bryan.
With K-Bro.
I wish we could. We can. That's why I need to spend it. I don't have to use it hardly.
Thank you, Paul. Do what? Hey, Chrissy. How are you? Okay. Did you bring us a sheet? Because we don't have anything that you turned
It
in.
doesn't have anything on it, so Scrims, you'll probably already have it, because I don't have anything on it.
So you're not requesting anything different? Okay. Well, I don't really need one on it. Put no changes on here. The only thing I ever have to worry about on here is election expense stuff, because I don't know, you know, every 2 years we have more elections, and I'm assuming that we're going to have a
We're
state,
finishing up this year,
but we're going to have that election on the road deal.
that's November.
That'll be part of the general.
Be the general election, just
Okay, so you don't think I'll need any more money than the 50,000 I've got in there?
Not for the next
not for
year.
this year.
Will you even need that?
No, probably not.
Just got one election.
The November 6th is the only one.
Back up.
So I can maybe knock that down to 30?
I don't even think it'd be that much, but yeah, 30 would be good.
Okay.
Because the only thing we'll have for the next year will be November. If we have anything next year, it's going to be cities and schools and stuff like that, and they pay for their stuff. We pay for it, and they write us a check, pay us back.
Right, well, in the past, I always thought we could charge them, I want to make
Yes.
sure we're charging for everything
Yes.
we can.
Yes.
Because some of that stuff they say we can't charge them for.
Yes, and if you want to look at what I'm charging for too, and make sure that I am charging for everything, I'm just going by what I've done.
I would
But did they not, the state not give you criteria of what you can? Because I know that we talked to Leonard before about if you could increase how much you charge them, and he would always say no, there's always,
Yes,
you can't charge them.
like for my fee is like 10% of what their election cost. That's the highest you can charge them as far as my fee goes. But like all their workers, their locations, all of that mileage to deliver the equipment, they pay for all that.
But all our election machine, everything we got is paid for.
To rent the equipment, everything, yes.
And we don't need, we're not gonna get any more stuff, right?
Have you been reimbursed by everybody this year?
I just actually got a check from the city today, so the only one I'm waiting on is the hospital.
Okay.
But yeah.
But all the Democratic, Republican?
We're probably still waiting on their runoff stuff, because they just got invoiced that for the runoff.
Fair, those tend to take a while.
Yes.
Now, on that, just sometimes the parties will pay directly, where they don't reimburse us, they'll just take care of it themselves, or they bypass.
Like the judges and stuff?
Yes, they get the timesheets, they pay for their judges.
And election workers?
Yes, election workers. But they'll reimburse us, they too will rent the equipment, they have to pay a rental fee for every piece of equipment. They pay for delivery of the equipment, to program the equipment, their ballots, they pay for all that.
Okay.
The old machines, have y'all tried to, if they're gonna be trying to sell that?
I've tried to find surrounding counties that use them to sell them, and nobody wants them. So I guess the next step is to figure out if I can find someone to take them off our hands. I'm not sure what to do with them at this point.
Auction them through the
Yeah.
Auctioneer Express. I don't know.
I think that's a good deal.
Yeah.
There's some counties still got these old.
Yes, yes.
The sooner you could do that, the better.
The big boxes, I mean, I don't know what they would be used for, but if somebody was, just wanting the big boxes to store stuff in, I mean, they could be even used for that if they didn't want to buy the computer part.
We can tell them they go to Auction Express and buy. I agree with the judge.
That's a company here in town that sells a lot of surplus equipment for the county. Is it Auctioneer Express or Auction?
Yes, Auctioneer Express.
Auctioneer Express.
Within the next couple of months. That'd be nice.
Oh, yes.
Well, she needs to do this fashion in because it's election.
Well, I was thinking if they could include hers on with the road engineer and the auction, or the sheriff's department.
Well, you can add items whenever you want to add to them.
Put whatever you want.
I mean, they put it online. It's not like they have
You don't
a,
have to wait for
No.
the whole county just to do one.
no.
What do y'all need for me, like a picture, description?
You need to talk to him. Talk
He will come
to,
do that. He'll come take all the pictures and list it all and all of that.
what's his name?
Dale.
Dale.
He's over 67. Christie, if you call him, he will come.
I've got his information, I know him and talk to him, so I'll get with Chrissy.
Auctioneer Express. He's on Highway 67, or pick up the phone. Just say, we told you to call him.
All about him.
Okay.
He goes to all these seminars.
He'd be the best possible outlet for that stuff. And if he can't get it sold, probably isn't worth anything. But he can get something. All right, well then let's lower that election expense. Let's bring it down to 30 then.
I'll put that on there.
25 would be enough.
Let's say 30.
Is that?
You got that one election, that's it.
Yeah, we should stop more, so.
Make it 25, Bridget. Change that to 25.
Bring it down to 30.
Well, but back there in 2017, it was 26.3.
But now we've been reimbursed some of that from the city.
She said that our software would get all about that,
Historically, we don't go down that low. You can see that.
The
low here.
other item that would change, Judge, is the software expense. It's not running as much anymore. I'd maybe do like 15,000 there.
Down to what, Carl?
Down to 15,000
15.
software expense.
Yeah, 15.
And I'll change the election to 30. Just ran 26 2 years ago. I'll save us a little bit.
Okay, Chris, anything else?
No, sir, that's everything done.
All right, thank you for coming over.
Thank y'all.
Everything going okay? Getting ready for November?
All right, Chris Durant.
Anybody else out here? Oh, he's in here.
That's gonna be here at 11:30.
We called you, you're right. You're right, we're shuffling around, we got way behind and we got way ahead, and so this is just right.
I think all mine's pretty much what it was last year. For maybe a little increase in my travel seminar thing, that line item that's used for education for deputy council.
Well, we've gone over quite a bit
Well,
already.
And what I'm telling, I've been telling our officials that when we put the travel back into everybody's budget for years, we didn't have to. It was,
We just kind of
y'all voted, we
estimated.
did it in the general, so I said this year will be a benchmark. So if we come up under, then we can maybe add, so you may see in several of our departments where they need to increase it by a little just to see.
So if we spent $1,000 already, shouldn't we budget at least 1,000?
I would think so.
No?
Yeah, I would think so.
Oh, like I said, I don't think so.
No, I think so. 1,000. You're not going to need any more seminars before October 1st, are you?
No, and I had 3 that had to go to civil process training, and that's every 2 years. So that's one.
So that's kind of a unique year.
Sir?
That's kind of a unique year.
Well, I mean, there's new stuff coming up all the
Well,
time.
put 1,000 in there then instead of the 750.
Okay.
Other expense, that kind of run, that's maintenance for the patrol cars, that's other expense type stuff that we had in the past.
Right, it kind of jumps around.
So we, it's, this year, you can see the last year's, it's,
Some years it's been 1,000, some years it's been 1,500, depending on what they do.
we had some car problems. Everything else I read, of course, I asked for, increase in my salary.
All right. How many vehicles do y'all have over there right
What
now?
time?
How many vehicles?
I have 2.
That counts yours plus your volunteers.
No, both of them are used primarily for reserve officers.
He gets 15, 6.
Sir,
No, go ahead.
occasionally I'll
Okay, so your personal car plus 2 vehicles.
Right.
Okay.
One is the one that's sitting there is the K-9 car, which reserve officer is a K-9 officer. So that one we got last year, or this year. This year.
Last year.
Who's the K-9 officer?
I thought we got rid of the canine dog.
For the sheriff's department, he worked for the sheriff's department and quit, and so now he came back, and Chris is using him for reserve.
Y'all approved him.
Yeah.
Huh?
Y'all approved him.
He's just a reserve.
He's just a reserve.
Volunteer.
Reserve, it's volunteer.
And you're right, the sheriff's department doesn't have a K-9 right now.
He maintains all certifications. That was certified.
Who pays for all that certification?
He
Very little cost to the county when what they do.
Agreed. All right, anything else? Okay, thank you very much.
This is probably, can I ask a very silly question? Everybody probably knows the answer. What is the OPC juvenile officer? What is that?
That's not me.
That's what Ray was talking about. That's when he carries those mentally ill people to Terrell or wherever he carries.
OPC stands for Order of Protective Custody.
You got to be special trying to do that.
That's why Ray gets that extra pay. He's certified as our mental health officer, which includes local duties as well as transport to Terrell, as well as other mental health hospitals. It can be juveniles.
And we have in the past filled out the juvenile department and transport some of the juveniles. We have like I guess we have and reimbursed the juvenile department for that but a year. Fuel costs. You know, try to help one another.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
I was thinking Judy Cook was coming. Anybody out there in the hall, Mike?
No, Judy's not doing 12:45.
Yeah, but I thought we had bumped her up. I thought I'd bumped her up.
There's Cheryl. We cut her, I thought we were cutting her budget. That's it.
Did you get my text? I texted her. You're up.
We're just gonna work the office on that.
She's nervous too.
This group,
Reserve, treasurer.
This is serious, guys.
All right, Cheryl. Let's see.
Have you got another seminar you've got going to before October 1st? You just think you're gonna make more money?
She needed more money this year, so I figured by next year, they're probably gonna raise hotel rates again.
Well, you only spent $949.
Well, what had happened was she was like $40 short, and so I moved it from her other expense, and then later, after I did that, she said, oh, I didn't use all the money, so she went and deposited, or received it back to that, and I didn't go back and undo my budget amendment, I just left it,
Okay.
so.
Well, like we told y'all, we don't, on the driving seminars, we're kind of having to use this year as our guide year anyway, because it was all lumped together before, so we didn't really track how much it cost each department, so. If she doesn't need it, she won't use it.
How'd you come up with the $12.75 then?
I took that $5.70 off of the other expense and just balanced it back to give me $100 more than I had.
Just round it.
And those, I just rounded that up, and I think it was just $100 between those two line items that I threw in there, just so she would have to move money around. But, you know, it might not go up next year, I just put it in there because I knew she said I had gone over this year's budget. And the sign about it, like that 5570 on there, it bothered me, and it was,
I'll probably go to $1,000.
Say that again.
I'll probably just budget $1,000
On the travel?
on seminars.
Because you can always give her additional.
That's right. I mean, they have required things just like y'all do, so. And Every bill is approved by y'all.
Here's pretty much payroll, travel, and other expense, whatever that is. What is that, office expense? You know, we hadn't spent near that kind of money in a long time.
Well, we have to buy checks and stuff every so often.
And our envelopes.
It may be time for, we got to be prepared for that anytime.
We'll have another one, 1,600, back to 15. You can cut it to 2,000.
You just do 2,000 even. How about
Yeah.
that?
I would say a little there. Everybody's numbers are also going to go up there in the medical. Because I already talked to the judge about it, and we talked about it, I think, before. I've been using $850 a month just arbitrarily for the county's insurance. I'm going to use $1,000 a month per employee this year. And all that means is the money's going to move around from being a transfer in from general county to probably every department being bigger. So like the sheriff said, it'll go from 2,000 to 212,000. That means we're spending any more money. This means we're.
But it's $150, I mean, it's $150 a month,
Right.
$1,800 a year times a bunch of employees. It's going to be a significant impact.
But I'm also not anticipating putting it. I'll just reduce the transfer, the initial transfer, because I won't need as much if I transfer it this way. But it does reflect a little better for the individual departments how much it costs for the insurance.
So you're gonna go down to 2,000
Yeah.
probably to 1,000 on travel.
Right. But that medical insurance at the top is going to be $12,000 to 10,000.
Okay, Cheryl. Thank you. Okay, you got Judy Cook coming at 12:45. If y'all want to take go grab a sandwich or something.
I thought Cheryl was buying for everybody.
I tried, but he told me no.
He did. I declare.
If I had anything else to shove up quicker, I would, but
Well, let's, if I can get a bite to eat, be back at 12:45.
The other thing that I need to tell y'all, the judge hadn't already told you, is we've got preliminary appraisals. We hadn't told everybody this.
no.
And it's pretty much going to be a flat number. I think.
Well, we had seen $1 million initially increase in overall valuation, but that got taken away by a request. Who did I tell you it was? Welsh Power Plant
Yeah.
had some credits that they were due that the appraisal district wasn't aware of, $900-something thousand it was going to cost. So that basically, not $900-something thousand valuation difference. So that pretty much blew away our increase. We were hoping that $1 million increase in the, how much was the actual increase? Was it
It was about $1 million.
just $1 million? We were hoping that might make a nice, give us some cushion there, but that got quickly taken away. So again, we're about flat on our evaluations. At least it's not going down, but
Right.
flat's better than going down.
The valuation's flat. Of course, we've been using $50 million on the aluminum plant. I don't know what their number is going to be. I haven't heard, we asked her, they haven't ever.
Still no feedback. I get no information from it.
Usually I go with their number, which is the lowest number. They may come in at 25 million. They may come in at 0. But at least we're not having to move it much. Because we only have to move from 50 to 0. I think appraisal district still got it valued at 175 million. That's what she told us in her numbers. That had it like 250 last year, we're down to 175 this year.
Still haven't settled lawsuits yet, still have 2 years, 3 years of
I
outstanding.
saw in the Dallas paper, you know, they settled that one in Fairfield, they settled that one last year, she don't know why they're dragging their feet on
Don't know
it.
either. Don't know either.
I don't know, we may be the only power plant left they haven't settled.
We are. Don't know why
But
we
we've been
can't.
using that low value for a while, we've been using their value for a while, so, you know, hopefully, mediate that deal, they'll come up with a number in the middle, and that'll mean we'll get some money, because we've been using 50 million value instead of anything higher.
I don't think I asked her how much they had rendered, did I?
Yeah.
Surely they rendered zero.
No, she said they hadn't sent in their paperwork yet,
Oh, okay.
so we don't know what they rendered. But it should be about flat. So the only, I mean, you can leave your tax rate the same. The only thing y'all are gonna have to decide what you're gonna wanna do is, if you want to give any raises, if you're any employees, and if you're gonna want to, continue to pull fund balance money out of the road and bridge. You can't do that forever. At some point, if you're gonna wanna seal coat those roads, you're gonna have to raise. Remember that deal with Roger Shoulders? I don't know how accurate that is, but he told you over time it'd take 10 or 15 cents to do all the roads countywide over 15 years. He gave you all that sheet of paper last year. So, I mean, if that's a long-term goal, is to get all the roads to be seal coated, then you're gonna have more money, whether you do the unit system or the old system. The only way you're gonna get more money out of it, you can't take it out of fund balance because you don't have, there's not enough there.
We'll keep depleting our fund balance.
Well, even after you deplete it all, you won't be anywhere near through. I mean, if you pull 500,000 a year out, 5 years, you won't have any fund balance left.
Yep.
So,
The legislature will be back again this year, probably have the pressure continue to be on them to restrict the amount that a county can increase their taxes in any one year. If you'll recall, we're at 8% now. They had pushed for 4%. They did not get anything done there. I would expect they'll be back asking for 4%. Now, in some counties, that's critical for them. For us, going through the devaluation in our power plant that we were, that would have been a real difficult restriction on us. I don't think we're as vulnerable as a lot of other counties are, but just remember that you can't just go along asking for no tax increase, eroding your fund balance, and then all of a sudden have to play catch up and be facing a tax rate increase limitation that will likely pass this year. I think it will.
You can get more than 4%. You just have to let the voters vote.
You have to let the voters approve it.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
the other thing that comes into play is the rollback rate's based on evaluations. So if evaluations go way down, you can raise your rate, but you're not going to be
But on that 4% now, they're not counting on INS.
No.
They'll count that. We probably haven't been close to 4%.
No.
If you took that away. That's not included in the 4%.
Yeah, since we leveled out on our power plant valuation, I think we're okay.
The only thing you have to worry about is if they ever started coming after that other power plant.
Is that what? I'm sorry.
If they ever started coming after the Welch power plant, if they end up, if the Welch power plant shut down like the Lumen power plant did, that's another big chunk of our.
I think that worry, as far as the feds putting pressure, is not there any longer.
Right.
And they're not in a situation where they're having to consider from an expense standpoint, closing that plant because it's regulated. So I think we're okay there for the
Unless they lose the protection of being regulated at some point.
possibly so. But
They do much checking on the price of natural gas and coal. It's going to go with natural gas. It takes $77 a cubic of coal to do 1 hour cubic electricity.
At some point, they may have
And
that.
natural gas, it takes $22. So, you know,
and just remember how many $1 billion they put into this plant over here, trying to keep it alive back. And so they've got that depreciated out for who knows how many years. I think we've got many years left in that Webco plant.
But like I said, it's also that it's regulated, so when they spent that money, they're allowed to pass some of that cost on.
Yeah.
Because it's regulated. But anyway, that's the only things I know of y'all really, that are really gonna have to make any.
So I would strongly encourage you, if you're going to consider raises, you can't do a zero tax increase. We've got to be able
So you gotta be able to fund it.
keep up.
Yeah, you gotta be able to fund it. If you're gonna give raises, you'll have to give raises.
Now, I don't know what kind of requests are going to come from the judges across the street or from Chuck. I don't know if they're going to come back and ask for a major improvement in their facilities over there. We kind of kicked that one down the road for a while.
So we were going to put in that courtroom over there.
But we got to pay for it if we're going to do that.
We got the money to pay for it.
You got the money to fund balance, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think you want to get that fund balance below about 3 million, because you're about 5. So you're about 5 million. So if you take $1 million and do that over there, it brings you down to 4. If you pull 500,000 out for the roads, that brings you down to 350. That means you could do the roads one more time, and that would probably be it. At that point, you're either going to come up with some money for roads or stop doing that program.
I know it's probably a novel thought here, but do you ever think about reducing spending somewhere?
Well, if you find it out, well, I know there's some places, I know there's some things that you, in particular, mowed down, but even if you took all of those, it's not going to get you $500,000 to put the roads. Everything you ever came up with was about $200,000, which is about a penny.
The road, we got most of that in salaries. Each precinct is kind of low the amount of money we spend on other than salaries. It's just a job creating operation. And
Well, that's true. I mean, you may be able to do some things there with salary, that's.
For the 4 precincts, I know when you had the budget last year. It was pretty good amount that just goes to salaries and benefits. Percentage of
Since Roger, anybody that's left since Roger's been there, they replaced them, or are they trying to have higher freeze on the road bridge stands? I don't know, got any leave?
The 2 that were vacant and then 1 retired and they just approved 3.
Okay.
So all of it.
So we've kept all the same number of hands.
We did what?
We've kept the same number of hands that we had before.
Well, they don't have enough now.
Well, I don't know how.
Enough hands.
They what now?
I said, 16 hands is not enough. That was our county.
That's an area I can't evaluate, so I don't know.
Probably, I don't think you should try to do it all. We should contract some work out initially.
I'll take a lunch break.
And that, over.
Council.
Okay, it's 12 o'clock and we'll recess till 12:45.
I can tell you on that seal coat, we used to do about 15 miles for each precinct every year. But we spent all year getting everything ready to seal coat.
Yeah, when are you coming back with that letter?
Let me tell y'all, the way we started selling,
Yeah, because it was 30 days from the letter, the date of the letter.
Well, the only reason I'm not going because there's some things that y'all don't realize that machine election process and some other things that go on that y'all realize and know, but it is still.
I went there for church, 35, 40 minutes away. But it was fine. What you need is to wind up your and you go around. Be around. That's good. It went every day.
Yeah, whenever it was split up into 4 precincts, they're back like for registration.
Yeah.
And then when they
But I mean, not that. 30 minutes.
all of that goes to precinct 2 or fund
We can add on the
They were two trucks sitting up there with the old house.
So like here's, which you're gonna be able to say, here's precinct 2 from registration. Their portion. 17, we're not counting because we kind of split that. Like here's like 15, you would multiply like 1,000.
Been with since
That would, yeah, you multiply that by 4 percent. So you would, I would do your precinct, you start that. That's the only registration. Yeah, so 163 times 4, it would be well, like this year, that's right, this year's full budget on 20 is shown.
I heard there's another car to get me. No, yeah, trying to, what else is there?
Oh, see, we budgeted in this year, 700,000. Because last year, see, yeah, so far, this is the thing.
That's what they used
We
to do.
originally, like, if we went back to 4 precincts, you would divide that by 2, and that would be.
Just,
Yeah, because then you have the property taxes.
yeah, let it sit there.
And that's the same for the property.
Didn't get stopped, and they were free and clear.
Where I worked in years ago, that's what they were storing. No cell phone, just telephone. What is it called?
That's major, like now, we get, that's any significant,
Yes, sir.
we get like state link and axle, but that's not, that's about
That's up at, we
20, 30, 20 to
we ain't got that space, just get your,
They wasn't putting fences, didn't have near the cops out there.
Yeah, so,
Near the tickets.
that'll work. We ain't got no court yet, it's just.
yeah, once a year, well,
Elmer Fudd,
Gary Clark, he done called when they're installed. Go try to cook it. Kinder cook, I think. He got a phone.
that's all my kids, they're not too smart.
They said they was gonna bring the road, them cops swarmed us. I got called, told me the bad wreck on 49. Big pile. They took it out.
I don't know about him.
He
Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
Talk about the devil that walks in.
Oh, you know me.
Get me started. Now you go where I'm chatting at school. It's far down. Then bring the break guys down there. Have you ever had it? So it's far. If it don't, we don't get to stand around and a fire gets is right away, ain't gonna be no stopping it. It is, the road ain't gonna stop it, it's gone. Me neither. My wife said if they come to Franklin, said if they get this one, you know what? Have a license. Oh, no. You gotta have a license for this stuff. Well, you can work under somebody's license, but they got to be there. You got to. I guess so. And he's been get his thing on from because of that. Because they someone fixing to call for him. On his phone. I didn't call me the other day. He was very hostile. Well, Brad called me, but he was the first one that did. Let's just spray the tree. Don't spray the tree. Spray the grass if you're gonna spray it. Kill the weeds, not kill the grass. I nearly cried yesterday. Right road, I was checking mine and do something.
Tell you what, let's go ahead and get started here. Commissioner Fields can join us. We're reconvening after recess for a brief break, and we're back on track for 12:45 appointment today on Monday, July 9th, and we've got Judy Cook here to discuss her budget. So Judy, I'll let you get started, and I know Seth's with you, and we'll certainly have time to hear from Seth regarding your server and the related software.
Everything's pretty much the same as what it was last year. The maintenance for the software went up some in price. $20,000 to $369 from $15,751.
When does that get paid?
It's quarterly.
Okay, quarterly. All right. But they tell you in advance what the full 4 quarters is going to be?
Yeah, the full year, yes.
Okay.
They always send me that software every year. And the next thing is our server that we're using right now.
Before you go to that, what's your office expense? Does that include this server, or is that something different?
If you look on the software maintenance 317, that's where that's paid out of. It's not paid out of her office, we keep that separate.
What?
Her
The
maintenance,
maintenance is separate from regular office expense.
Okay, well, what is this $12,000 that's under office
that's
expense?
what she's budgeted for her office.
All supplies that are needed, and tax statements and everything comes out of
Okay.
that at the end of the year. That's why I always got so much in it, is so that at the end of the year, the tax statements for the.
Will your $2,900 that you spent thus far shoot up here in the last 3 months?
It will.
Okay.
It will.
I just want to be sure I wasn't confusing anything that Seth's going to talk about with office expense. Okay,
Separate.
all right. All right, back to where you were.
Okay. Our server that we have was put in 2009.
And to break that down real simply for all of us that may not be aware of what that server is, that runs, what all does it run? Just
Property tax.
Just taxes, not vehicle, has nothing to do with vehicle.
Nothing to do with vehicle. Vehicle's all their equipment that we have in there is for information data regarding property taxes. We import supplements from the basic district, all our changes, our tax rolls, everything, and then our collection process. But what's happening is the server, when we first started in 2009, and it's got where it goes down quite often, and it's old enough that it's ridiculous.
Coming up on its 10th birthday.
It's coming up, it's needing replacement.
Okay. And you've gotten a quote from Harris, and then we're going to hear from Seth as to how he thinks he might can save us some money.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's all I answered to.
Okay, so the quote from us for basically just covering the hardware is $17,733, and that basically pays for everything, the hardware, the licensing, and everything that we had recommended from Harris. So we emailed them and said, hey, basically, what is your requirements to run the software? And they sent us back this, and we cut a few corners just because the initial cost was sky high, and this is just about. We shopped around a long time to get it as low as we could, but we didn't want to get you hardware that's not sufficient for the needs. So basically, the 17,733 is for the hardware, and the only services that we would charge for, the one line is optional, and it's the 24/7 support. So if something went down on a Friday afternoon, we would come in on the weekend and handle it. If there was a hardware failure or something with the data or whatever, we would handle it after hours to minimize downtime. That is completely optional. I do recommend it. The other two add-on services on the line item, we're just going to cover that underneath the county agreement, so we don't have to charge any extra for the maintenance of the server. This new server will be on the new backup system. Instead of doing the whole cartridge tapes and running them every single day, this will be a real-time backup to the server that's in the annex.
Good day.
So we have our data in 2 places.
Lucky.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so the company that gave you your other quote, what is it? What are they called? What's their name? True Automation. Okay.
Correct. So, yeah, the Harris government quote for the 925 is for migrating and installing basically their portion of the software. They'll migrate all the data from the old server to the new server, and they'll just essentially set up the connections on the workstations to connect to the new server rather than the old one. Honestly, I expected that to be a lot higher. I'm pretty pleased seeing that being low for the amount of work that they'll have to go through, because I imagine it's quite a bit of work.
Has True Automation expressed any reservations whatsoever with us providing our own hardware?
Not that I've seen. My initial email to him was just, they were looking to get the back office new server, what the requirements, and he just sent it back and said, sounds good, let me know what you're going to do.
So they weren't courting you, trying to get you to get a new server from them?
They haven't even contacted.
Oh, okay.
And right now, we are not maintaining the server that they have in place. True Automation is maintaining it. So it's on the network, but we don't have any credentials to even log into things. So this one will be covered under us. We'll maintain it and make sure the backups are running and so on and so forth. Eventually, it's going to have to be done. That operating system on that old server is going to be not supported by Microsoft or 2 very long. I think it was 2020 version I could double check, but and it's just almost a decade old. It's come to time to upgrade.
Okay. And didn't we originally have some kind of dollar figure idea from True Automation as to what it would cost if they provided that server? Where did I dream 40,000?
I thought they sent something a while ago as well. I mean, it was months ago. and it was high. It was very high. And I think you're around the mark, around 40 is what they quoted. Because I think they quoted like a new.
Well, it may not have been in the last year even. I was
No.
thinking it was a year or two ago.
Yes, it was.
Two or
It was
three
a
years,
long
2 or
time.
3 years ago.
So, yeah, that was a while ago.
And this old server, when it causes problems for us, it doesn't really cause any problems for True Automation. So they're not sitting there pushing you to get a new server.
It's just that like today, I had to reboot my computer 4 times before I could have time onto it. And we may be in the middle of posting payments, and we do multiple payments a lot of times, and it may just shut down on us.
Yeah. Well, we want to be ahead of the curve before the thing crashes and we're all scrambling at the last minute. 10 years seems to be a reasonable life out of that deal, and if we can cut True Automation's cost in half, that sounds like a good deal to me, or more than half. So, gentlemen, this is, as you can see there, $17,733 plus another $925. You're talking about nearly $20,000 to replace Judy's server there that handles all of her ad valorem taxes. Any reason you all would not support a replacement at this time?
No reason. Is Harris governed? Do you have a copy in here? Is that a different company than True Automation? Or
It's the same company.
Same one?
They started out True Automation, and then they went
Why do we
to
have to pay them the $925? What's that for?
software.
So essentially, yeah, they'll move the data for that 925. They're moving all the stuff from all one to the new.
That's basically services. That really doesn't buy us any new software. That's just for their labor to transfer over to the new machine. Okay. And so there's really not going to be any office expense left to spend any of this $20,000 out of. That really needs to all be in the next year.
I just asked her when they would do this, because like we've done in the past, she said she didn't think she could wait till October. And we have $252 in contingency. If we want to look at that, maybe if they could, I don't know their time slot, but maybe something that we could pay out of this year's budget. If that's feasible, I'll check with Carl or.
In other words, we need to get this done before tax season starts, which makes
Exactly.
sense.
We start working in September, preparing to get our run in and everything, and then, would you say downtime 4 or 5 days possibly?
Yeah.
So if we wait till October, well then, that's kind of bad time. Because we send our statements out at least on the second week in October.
You send out your statements in September, right?
Well, no, we bring our
Or
tax
first of
roll,
October.
we bring our tax roll in and all supplemental changes in September, and then we start transferring what the appraisal district has sent us. And then, like the second week in October, we send our statements.
So you'd really like to initiate this immediately?
If possible, since we have the downtime of that long, I don't know how to hinder with trying to collect or send statements out.
Okay. So what Judy is telling us is this is really something that she would like to see done immediately with contingency funds rather than even putting this item on the 2018-19 budget. And unless there's any body that feels differently, I can put this on the next agenda item for consideration.
If that's possible, that would be better for us. It would be maybe sometime in August or first part of September.
Okay. Seth, if we pull the trigger in 2 weeks, what's turnaround time to get all this done realistically without, killing yourself?
We'll have to wait on the hardware to come in, which generally takes 4 to 5 days, and then initial setup. We piecemealed some of the hardware to drop the cost, so we'll have to actually build this server. I expect probably 2 weeks, including the shipping.
But by the end of August, this could be done?
I think absolutely, yeah. I'd say mid to end of August.
said 45 days for the hardware?
4 to 5 days. So it would be less than a week to get the hardware in, and then we'll have to set it up. So I would say in total, probably 2 weeks to have hardware in and everything ready for us to just put it in and let Periscope do the work.
Get it done in August and start in September without working out the bug might be, probably need to start earlier.
We can work with that.
This is the kind of thing that's going to generate problems typically, right?
No, any issues would be known the first day because it's not like they're getting a whole new software. It's just replacing the hardware. If it was a whole new program, I would say, okay, yeah, we need way more time. But since it's just hardware and they're putting the same program on it that is on the old server, I don't foresee any major issues at all.
And this is your slowest time of the year?
It is.
Okay. So my suggestion will be to just let me put this on the next agenda as a special item that would be requiring a transfer from contingency to pay for this, and that way we get it all done this summer and have it ready for the fall. Sound all right?
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Let me make myself a note.
Did you get rid of the mailing machine? You're still doing the mailing out? Somebody told me you contracted that out.
We contract our first tax statements when we go out in October. We contract them
Have you always done that?
for several years, probably the last 12 years.
Yeah.
It's actually less money than contracting, and just to process them ourselves.
You still use that mailing machine?
Yes, sir. Yeah, because we still do in-house delinquent statements in February and in May. We still print them and do those mailings ourselves. Plus everything else, auto, vehicle, we mail.
All right, anything else regarding this particular budget? The way you've got it presented here is okay if we spend this money outside of this budget request.
Everything else is.
All right, any other comments or questions for Judy? Looks pretty straightforward. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Seth.
Okay, next we've got our volunteer fire department scheduled for 1 o'clock. Who wants to begin on that item? We can go in any order you want. Wesley, you want to start?
Yes, sir.
You were first here, I guess.
On our fire department, we have our tanker 55 has a computer issue on it. Don't know exactly why it failed in our pump test that we just done out at Tri-Lakes. I guess it's been 3 months ago anyway. It failed out on the pump test. We put it out of service as far as pumping. Tanker wise, it works just fine. We can make it to the scenes, fill up whatever water we need, and we have an engine that's their engine 59 that's there, so we can still pump water. But and we were kind of keeping that part out of service until we had our next fundraiser to try to catch this without costing the taxpayers money. But there was an email that was sent out that seemed to push it, need to be fixed right now. And so we're asking the courts if they would, we don't know exactly what it's going to cost. I've heard anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000 to fix this truck. Until it gets down to Alabama, deep South Alabama, we will not know. And it's going to take travel down there, volunteers taking off and going down there and coming back. But we would like to have somewhere in that neighborhood, around $12,000 added to our, our original funding, in contingency to take that thing down there and have it fixed. And we could take it down there just as soon as we knew that we could afford to pay for it.
How old is this tanker?
It's a 2007, 2010. It is on here. I believe it's 2010 model. 2011, yeah, 2011.
No idea why this thing's gone out on you?
Have no earthly idea. It's something with the computer board that monitors the idle. It has a set screen on it that you can idle up, you can idle down. During our test, and we were 45 seconds away from passing the test, and it failed out. It basically dropped idle on it, and we lost all pressure. And you're talking about an hour and 45-minute test, not just a couple minute test, but we were like 45 seconds away from passing it. Either way it goes, being it failed at any given point in time, if we're on a big fire somewhere, pumping water in Mount Pleasant, or Mount Pleasant's using it, whichever way, you don't want that to happen about that hour and 45 minutes into a scene. So we took it completely out of service. This is not the first time that we've had this thing cause us fits. The first time we took it over to south of Tyler, can't call the name of the group, and had the pump serviced and certified, and they fixed, I thought at that point, the problem. And it certified through there, the last time we went and certified through theirs. Thought the problem was fixed. Certifications come up every 2 years, I believe, every year, whatever it is. Went certified and failed out again, so it's one of those.
You're pretty sure it's the computer is the issue?
Yes, sir. We've called Deep South about it. We've discussed it with them, and they said anywhere from 4,500 and up, depending on how deep it goes into the system. And if it's a problem with the truck, because you got your pumping system, but also it's hooked into the computer system of the truck. So it could be a truck issue too. Just don't know. We think it's the computer board on the pump itself, but that's us guessing.
If that's all it was, could that be on the lower end of the spectrum?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's nobody closer than Alabama that would look at it.
MES, is that municipal equipment services that you talked to before?
Yeah, MES can. The problem is they don't know what they're playing with. This is Deep South's equipment, and they can bring somebody here to work on it. But if they have the parts to fix it or not, it's going to be the problem. Or if it's a computer problem with the truck, it's got to go back to south of Alabama. I don't know of anybody else, unless some of the chiefs can tell me something about somebody else that could take that same pumping system, that truck, and be able to make sure all the computer and all that's working properly both ways. I don't know of anybody else. It could possibly be. Jerry, you know anybody else that would? Lindell, it's been there. And when they thought they fixed the problem, that was $1,700 and something worth of fixing on it. The first time, they didn't catch it. Whatever it is, like I said, I don't know exactly what it is. That's the deal. And don't know if it's a truck issue, Kenworth issue. And Kenworth won't they'll work on the truck itself, but the computer system in between the tank and the pump and the truck, they won't have anything to do with. But we don't think it's truck side, just because of the way it acts. The truck runs fine, it drives fine, everything works just fine in it. It's just the pumping side, and we think it's on the pump side. And it could be on the low end of that. It may be $4,500. I just don't know until it gets down there, to be honest with you.
And y'all are unable to care for an expense like this out of your funds?
Sir.
I assume you're not able to pay for a significant expenditure like this out of your funds?
No, sir.
Okay.
We also have brush 53 and 52 has injector issues. We've been dealing with injector issues for probably 3 years now. They run and they get us to where we need to go, and we take them to the Ford House. They've replaced the injectors on it, replaced fuel pumps on it. We continue going back to the same problem again. They're just
Ford diesel?
yes, another Ford gas. They're those V10s. Yeah, back in the, I think those are what do you model 2009 and 2001 maybe 2000 2002. But they've got that V10 in them, and it just one of those deals. Part of taking care of those trucks. And last time 53 was there, I think it was $1,700 or $1,800 worth of fixing on it, and came home and sputtered and spit, same as it did whenever it left, and sent it back up there. It seemed like they can't quite get it figured out.
So unless we pay for these repairs, this equipment is basically out of service?
No, it's capable to haul water from one spot to the next, which that's really what Mount Pleasant wants more than
You talking about the brush truck or the tanker?
I'm talking about the tanker. It can haul water from one point to the next, and the brush truck still get from point A to point B. Question is, are they going to make it on the next round? You know, that always becomes a question. Are they going to break down in between here and there, or get out on the field and spit and sputter?
But without replacing or repairing that computer, how do you work around that? I'm just trying to understand what the repercussions
The tanker
are.
has 2,000 gallons on it. We have a dump tank on the side of it. We can set up a dump tank and dump the water out. Generally, that's what we do on most structure fires anyway. We just dump the water out, go back and get more water, come back to fill it back up as Mount Pleasant or whoever is running the engine pump into the fire itself. We're just a water hauler. And out in the county, it's getting better because we got a new hydrant over in Cookville area. It's getting better, but hydrants are far and few between. And that's the reason why we have tankers out in the county. It's mainly to haul water. The pumping side of it, in my opinion, it's great if we have a car fire. I mean, that becomes a really good spot for it. Or if Mount Pleasant's tied up and we have to pump, we can pump. Other than that, you know, really we bought a tanker to make sure Mount Pleasant had water. But we've got a pump or two. ISO rating becomes another side of that. With the tanker and the 750 gallons per minute, your ISOs go down, your taxpayers pay less in insurance premiums. So that was the other plus to having the pump or tanker versus just getting a tanker.
So Wesley, if we haul the water and dump it, then who pumps it onto the fire?
Whoever's fire, I mean, it might be at Sugar Hill, and he has his engine there pumping and fighting fire. It could be Mount Pleasant that's there. Generally, that's who it would be. Mount Pleasant gets there, they set up the first attack, we come in and make sure they have a tank and water supply. We have tankers out in the county from all over coming to that scene to dump water. And we stage out. There may be 40,000 gallons worth of water there at any given point in time, dumping and going. I don't guess that much, around 30, I guess. Around 30,000 gallons worth of water there at any given point in time, dumping for Mount Pleasant.
Okay. So those repairs are included in your increase from 1,000 up to 13,300?
Yes, sir.
but that's on the high side, right?
That's on the high side, yes, sir.
All right, anything else?
No, sir.
Commissioners, any questions here for Cookville? In the past, how have as big expenses have come up like this? Is this typical for the county to pay for something like this?
It's just according to what the situation was, Brent. Most everything that I remember or have dealt with has been for grants. If we got a grant, we had to pay 10 or 15% of it or something with most of it. Most of the repairs we try to do, but in a situation like this, it's, that's way more than usually what we've got in our budget, so.
I don't ever remember, I've been to a lot of.
Major repair like this? I don't either. Okay. All right, thank you then. Chief Clark, I think you're next.
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good. And just add to some other discussion, you had material tomorrow, 8,000 in their projects.
And how was that paid back? I remember that transaction, but I couldn't remember the details of
We
it.
take it out of their monthly,
They're taking out
fire protection.
And how long did we give to pay that
4
back?
years.
4 years?
It was 8,000.
At a 0% loan, wasn't it? Okay. Were y'all aware of that? Okay. That's the only one of these that I can remember, and I can't even remember what that specifically was for. The building, was that just the building?
Now, we brought in the new brush truck.
That was a new brush truck setting it up.
Because they were going to want to sell the other truck and no question turn that back over to the county. So they were going to use that to raise the money to pay for it, but we got the truck. And so it went back to the county. So that's why they borrowed.
Okay. How did we pay for that building fix?
Oh, we paid for that.
How much was that?
8,000. That took all our money to bring the truck in. That was an unexpected expense. And then when it came time to bring the new truck in, we didn't have enough money to complete the transactions. We came asking for money, and the outcome was borrow the money to the county at 0%.
Okay. I was getting those two items confused then. All right, so here your budget looks a little different from last year, a lot different, primarily because that was last year was your year to get the new truck. We had budgeted $31,000, so that's been pulled out of the picture here. And whose year is it to get the truck this year? Calco. Okay. All right, well, let's hear from Talco then. No fireworks fires this year?
Lots of fireworks fires that went off. We had a good show, and we had figure somewhere from 8 to 12,000 people, so it was a really good show.
How is that paid for, by the way?
It's all donations, the whole thing. We have companies that donate, we have fundraisers and everything, so the whole thing's paid for with donations. Through the years, we have a show where there's no cost to anybody, the kids, everything's free for the kids. So Mr. Hollis gets all the fireworks together for us, and we have XTO and other companies that come in and donate gifts and stuff for the kids. So, and Mr. Ted Cruz showed up with his cruise mobile this year and give us a bunch of stuff off his deal, so we don't. But anyway, it was a real good show. Everybody had a good time, so.
That's great. Okay.
on our budget, the 8,000, that's at, I got to thinking, that's at 5,000 that y'all said, and you just use the others to get the very first figure on our budget sheet. So we talked about that last year, and I forgot what the figure was. I think it was 5,000. Isn't that what y'all give? And then you take.
Okay, repeat that. I missed.
On the first budget item.
$8,000 item.
Yeah, I've got 8,000. I think y'all said y'all set that at 5,000, and you take it from the others, or are we just going to leave it at 8,000?
You'll have to give me some background here.
Okay, the 8,000 is for the $12 per fireman, and usually, I think last year we talked about that, but I couldn't remember what the figure was, and I think it was 5,000 was the figure that was supposed to be on that. And y'all said you'd take anything above that from any money left over from the other departments.
I'm sorry, I don't recall this discussion.
Yeah, I remember we had it last year, but I don't remember what we decided. We had 10,000 last year, but y'all said to lower it. And that's for the firemen per year?
We spent thus far 4656. That's how many, what is that, 8 months, Chris?
Yeah, that's what
That's,
we've already.
yeah, that's from June.
So we should end up around close to 7,500 or so.
But anyway, we've already went over 5,000 this year with all the calls we've had. So we set it at 8,000, but that's an adjustable budget or whatever you want on that.
Well, our year-to-date on the most current budget for rent, they're at 5,700.
Which is what he's got here.
For the time they are.
As long as we keep getting rain, we'll be okay.
Yes, yeah, that's good. That's the problem. Is we're running quite a few calls. So, and the other was the match of 19,200 was what we. That's what all the departments are getting. 850 on the training, and then the 1,000 was for the fire hose, which we bought last year. We bought a bunch of red line for the trucks for grass fires. And this year we're due a new truck for this year. So, and I didn't know what y'all wanted to set on.
Do we have an idea on that truck cost this year?
Okay. No, we haven't done anything as far as getting a cost.
Do you have an idea what it's going to cost? Have y'all looked at that? The price?
Yeah, we put in for a grant for the truck bed and everything, for the pump and everything. We've already got we have a company we use in West Texas, and that we put in a bid, but they still haven't got the bid back yet. So as far as the truck itself, we don't know. That's up to y'all, whatever you want to set on the truck.
We spent what, 31,000?
That figure is 29.7.
That's just for the chassis.
In the past, whenever we've checked into the cost of vehicles, it's cheaper, it's always been cheaper having the county get the bid on the truck on the county chassis, we don't get a better deal.
31 get it this year?
What size truck did y'all get?
That was a 3,500.
The 3,500, which is, if we go with a Ford, we like to get at least a 450, the weight limit on it, because it's a heavier duty and it carries the water and our equipment a lot better. That's what we're shooting for.
I don't have any way, I don't know how to quantify that.
Well, we don't either, because if Dana wants to go out and get a bid on it, because y'all are going to get a whole lot cheaper bid on it than we are.
Would we make that expenditure early in the budget year or first of the calendar year? When would we do that? Early in the budget year?
Early in the budget year.
Right now, you can check with these different companies.
450 versus a 350?
The 450 carries the water better. It's a heavier duty truck. The 350 we've had in the past, and it doesn't carry the water and stuff as good.
Any idea how much more that's going to be over?
Well, I don't know. That's one of the deals. We didn't even try to price. Because we didn't know whether y'all want us to price or y'all want to price. So I don't know how much more it would be.
Well, if we were willing to pay for the price of the 350, which is it important enough that y'all would make up the difference?
Yeah, I would assume we would. I just have to check into it and see what we can do.
We had that experience with the backhoe, trying the 350. We wasn't picking it up, to pull it around and down to throw it in.
350, you begin to have problem with your springs after several years. 450, we've got the 450 now, and we don't have any problem with the springs. It carries all the way the truck and everything like it needs to. So,
what's your thoughts on that? I don't know anything about this.
One of the things to take into consideration is we carry it at 300 gallons. That's 8.33 pounds per gallon. The 350s are just a one-ton truck. So we're exceeding the GDR just with our water. So what we've had to do on both of our trucks is put helper springs on the back, 3,500 pound additions. That's what we just put on our new truck. Once we got it all loaded, it started squatting in the rear. So we ordered a pair of helpers. It was, I think, about $800 to get it installed. But it brought the rear end back up and gave us what we needed.
Do you have any idea the price difference in a 350 versus a 450?
I don't really.
I didn't even try.
Nobody's ever bought a 450.
The last truck we have is a 450.
It's what?
It's real close because the popularity of the one-ton raises the price, where 450 is a work truck, so it carries a little. There's a little difference, but it's not much.
So we're not talking about a $5,000 difference.
No.
You may be talking, you may be talking $1 or $2 grand.
Right.
I bet you 5,000 is closer. That's
It's not much.
better
It's
frame.
very close.
Better frame, better weights will be heavier, the things will be bigger. I just think without checking.
We didn't check on anything because we didn't know how y'all want to handle that. If y'all would like for us to do some checking on it, or if y'all want to do the checking, whichever one you want to do, we'd be glad to do it if you want us to.
James is not going to know that how much. I mean, it needs to come from.
Get a bipolar.
Why can't we get a bipolar to give us a price?
I don't know why not. Why don't you get together with Dana?
Okay.
I'd like to be able to budget something, whether it's a 350 or whether we go with 450 or whether we let you pay for the difference. But in order to budget that, you know, I could guess and say 31,000 this year,
Okay.
to give us a bump over last year, but we might as well have that nailed down a little bit better before we finalize the budget. But we know it's your year to get a truck.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying, if we'll do it now, we'll get a whole lot cheaper price, because that 19's fixing to come on. They may have a truck sitting somewhere.
I just bought it for ourselves, and we got $15,000 knocked off it just as soon as we walked in the door. Because GM is down 2% on sales this year. So they're trying to get rid of trucks right now.
Yeah, now's the time to do it. And what Al talked about, the bipolar, if anybody can get it down there, they can.
Well, why don't
They
y'all,
always have.
There'd be a quick way to get to them. They'd contact them.
yeah, that's something I ought to be able to get you a bid in 2 days.
Yeah, should be. If you want Dana to get that bid, or what do you want to do?
Well, as long as he knows the specs that we're needing, if there are any certain specs.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll just get with him on it then. Is that what y'all want me to do?
We have to go ahead and buy it now. I'm sure we can get it pretty quick, because it's already built.
Okay.
Or it's in the process of being built, so they'll shut production down pretty quick on those.
We're going to get ahead every year. Might as well get used to that. Okay, once we know what that figure is, that'll let us know how much to budget for that item.
So So y'all, is Dana gonna get that figure? You want us to help get the
I
figure?
don't know, I'm asking the two of y'all to get
Okay, all
together
right.
to get a bid, so that I can have a dollar figure to plug into this.
Sounds good, okay.
If he has all the information he needs, as far as how it needs to be.
I just know the 450s, we don't have near the spring problems, the rear end problems with it. Sir?
Just cab and chassis is all.
Yes, sir, that's all y'all getting, yeah. We're getting a grant for the bed and for the pump to go on it, so we should be able to get a grant for that.
Okay.
We just spent $3,000 for our engine. The pump went out on it, but we paid for that and got it repaired, so. But other than that, the rest of the trucks are okay. Any other questions?
I don't have any, no, I'm just putting down here, we'll plug in a price for that truck once we get a buy board dollar figure.
Just making one note, y'all mentioned the fireworks. The money that's donated for the fireworks, that goes into a complete separate account. It's not even commingled in the fire department, which is, tax dollars or whatever. That's something strictly off to the side, so.
Well, I guess I didn't even realize that it flowed through the fire department. I don't know anything about how it's funded. I'm just curious because I was with Trinity for years and we decided to cancel that show, and y'all have a great show, and I know it's not cheap. I just wondered how the community raised the money.
We just do fundraisers and everything. Our main advantage is we light them by hand, and we purchase the fireworks ourselves. So that in itself, like this year.
You don't have that big computer board set up and the guy having to travel up there?
Where I've heard in the past that that Trinity was spending $20,000 for fireworks technicians to come in.
Yeah.
Our entire fireworks budget this year was $7,200.
You got to be kidding me.
Really?
So what you saw up there was $7,200 for the fireworks. The rest of it went to food and toys and hot dogs and watermelon and all that. It's all given away.
None of that comes out of the county funds that y'all give us.
Well, I'm assuming that. I'm not asking questions on behalf of the county. I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's how it works. Because we don't.
I told somebody I figured you spent 20 grand and you're saying you did it for $7,200.
I did, the fireworks are $7,200. Of course, our records are open for inspection, but because whatever money we get donated in, we turn around and give every penny of it back the next year. So.
Well, that's a heck of a deal.
We purchase fireworks in December and January to get them ready for the 4th. So, and we light them all by hand. So that in itself cuts you out way more than half the cost.
Wow.
15-minute show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's the deal. There's none of this money commingled for. It's a complete separate deal. The only thing is the fire department oversees it for the umbrella protection of the city.
Yeah, and your personnel's lighting it?
Yes, sir. So our department, our fire department boys light it.
We had eight on the slab this year lights. But there was like a total of 40, close to 50 workers to make the whole show go.
Does it ever get a little scary, that many people lighting stuff?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
We've done it so many years, you know who's doing what. Nobody makes a mistake.
It's not the first lightning. Everything is the first.
I'm just thinking how quick some of those are going off, and I mean, you've got 8 guys lighting at the same
Well,
time.
we do it on a timing mechanism. We have because we're all getting to where we can't see anymore. We've been doing it about 25 years. We have a big old clock. Every 15 seconds, you light one on the left, and 15 seconds later, you light one on the right.
Until the grand finale, and then the grand finale is whoever gets what.
Yeah, when the finale gets there, we're lighting every 5 seconds. So it gets to be pretty hairy, but after you've done it a while, everybody knows their part.
Wow, that's
But it's
amazing.
just wild on that slab. You can't hear yourself. But there's no money commingled. It's like I say, if you were to personally donate money to that cause, then you would put on there volunteer fire department, fireworks. And then that means that that money is put straight into a fireworks account. And if you put fire department, it's going to go into fire department budget. But it's a completely separate deal.
Great expenditure. All right, anything else?
It's just one other item, we were able to, I think so far this year, bring back $835 off the insurance, county insurance, back to our county. We found one truck that was still on the rolls, and we removed it, and then we found a building that was on the rolls, and we just got a check for $435 for it. So we're looking at it real close now. I'm hoping to save a couple thousand this year.
Yeah. And I've had that conversation with Chief Ward about looking hard at your list of equipment that we're covering for insurance, and let's value it at prudent prices and cover a prudent number of pieces so that when we renew in January, we've got the best possible premium. And I'll trust you all to figure out whatever that is.
We've got Marvin coming down next week. He's going to meet with me on the trucks and Lanny Schulteis on the buildings. Lanny's our resident expert on building construction.
Okay.
And try to come to a workable solution on what we should put these valuations at. Right now, if we put a $1,000 valuation on a vehicle, it costs us $100. So if we got a $60,000 valuation on a brush truck, we're paying $600 a year for that brush truck. So we're looking at bringing that down. So we've got 19 brush trucks and they're all over evaluated, so we can save a couple thousand there.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coordinating all that stuff and working with Marvin on that, because I sure don't know what I'm doing. All right, anything else, fellas, ladies?
I want to say something to y'all, and we appreciate all the volunteers and all the people involved. One thing people let me know right up front is they appreciate the fire coverage that they have. So over 30 years ago, they started, we didn't have the 3 fire departments. That was Winfield, Talco, and Mount Pleasant. And now people feel much more secure, much safer. They appreciate the fire departments. It's just a plus thing. We appreciate all the volunteers that's involved in this, because it couldn't happen without everybody that's involved in it today. But I do have a lot of people, sometimes you don't hear a lot, but I do have a lot of people thanking the county for helping us with the fire protection they have, because I don't even know if you could get insurance in some places if you didn't have fire departments as close as we do. So, thank you.
You guys know the ordeal we went through 2 years ago, renegotiating with the city. Well, it'll be time to do that in another year and a half, 2 years. So any input that you can give to any of us as we enter into those negotiations with the city, I don't know anything about this, but if y'all have better ideas or things that we need to know and consider as we do that, I would appreciate you letting us know. Okay. Well, we appreciate it, fellas. We may sit here and discuss a few other things before we break.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want y'all to know something, Joe.
Appreciate it.
Y'all got one of the finest snow cones and packages right there.
He hadn't brought us in. Hey, man.
You can do a snow cone in the dark.
Good to see you.
Congrats on that fireworks show. That's a heck of a deal.
All right, man, see you.
Thank y'all. Take care.
Great. So Christie, your notes will reflect a blank there on your Talco fire department until we can plug in a dollar figure there. I'd be interested in knowing what the price difference is on a 350 and 450 and
Go down there to James and just talk to him.
Go down there and
Well, unless if it's a buy board, then James can do that, but he's, I mean, just like me, I would think that they would since they had the specs and more familiar with it, just.
See, that's what the other departments have done in the past, is they go in and whatever they're wanting, they go in and get those specs, and then they, you know.
Now, if the county needs to submit it, if they'll get a better deal, then they can do the work and then.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I don't want to run the risk of ordering not just the right thing.
And James is not gonna, I'm gonna tell you,
Right.
I would want to do that.
It's more than I know.
Well, like I said, if he had the specs on it, he can do it.
I mean, they got to sit
Yeah,
down
if he's got
together
full specs of what they want, then he could do it, but.
and just say, but Titus County don't even, and then it has to be in our name.
They give the counties much better deals.
Well, that, it would still be going to them,
Right.
Titus County, but I would let them do whatever
spec
the
part.
spec part of it.
But
Also, 5-star.
That's just what I was fixing to say, we've got a 5-star.
5-star budget to 21,000 here for a portion of a 10% grant, so.
For what?
I don't know, y'all.
10% of a grant from TFS for a new tanker.
Well, that's what I don't understand.
They know-
They've got a tanker pumper now. I don't know why they're trying to get another one. They've got the old Winfield. I say old, it's the same age as ours. It and Tri-Lakes, Nortex, and Winfield all got them within just a short period of time there, within just a few months of each other. And they're all TFS, and they've got it. So I was hoping Lee was going to be here when I saw that to kind of explain why they're trying to get another tanker. Yeah, trying to get another tanker. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I guess we need an answer for that. Maybe he's not thinking there's a realistic chance to get that, but either way, we've got to be prepared for it. If we're trying to get if they're of the opinion that we try to get a grant whenever there's an opportunity to get a grant just to get cheap equipment.
Who was asking for that?
And that's.
Lee 5-star, Lee also.
That's $218,000 grant?
Yeah, that's on the truck, a complete truck. Yes, truck.
We never had volunteer truck that much.
Well, that's what, ours was two
Okay, it's been a long time.
something, yes. And it was a 10%, we had to come up with 10% and the county funded that. So, and that's what most all of them have been.
Okay, I just hadn't seen that. I don't know.
once you ask for bids on 450, you're going to get a bunch of different specs. And so I was just thinking Byward, you get a quick shot and they'll ask you some of the stuff, then you know what.
But you can sit down with
Randy.
Randy, I can get together and read by board.
How old would 5-star's current tanker be?
About the same model as, I was trying to remember when we went and picked ours up. Me and Laney drove to Alabama and picked it up on the day after Christmas on 2009 or 2010. And theirs was right after ours. We were the first one. And then I think Tri-Lakes got theirs, and then I think Winfield was right after that. So I'm going to say it's a 2010 or 2011. I think Cookville got theirs right after ours, so he said theirs was 11. So I'm going to say it's a 10 or 11.
Well, how should we view these requests? When you're spending 10 cents on a dollar, should you always try to take advantage of that? Or should you not try to take advantage of it if you don't really need it?
Well, I mean, that's one way of looking at it, but I would like to know why they're asking for it. If it's that, if they have been approached about a grant to where they could get, say, hey, you've got a good chance of getting it. Usually, TFS they've got a waiting list that's this long. I can't imagine them coming to them and saying.
If they ordered one, you're looking at what, 2, 3, 4 years before they get it?
No.
Not if they're awarded the grant.
I'm talking about how long does it take for the grant
get the truck, or to take, for the grant?
Get it approved to get the grant.
Well, you put in for it, and you don't do anything until they approve it, and sometimes you get it, pretty quick. It's according to your needs, really, is the way the TFS and FEMA both look at it, is your needs. If you don't have anything, then they may, go ahead and bump you up the list. But if you have got one just like this, if they've got one, from my experience in the past, you're going to the bottom of the list. So I don't know. That's the reason I would like to have talked to Lee to find out.
If you apply for a grant, you're kind of taking a risk and delaying your objective.
So would you call, so we would know about this for you going that, so we know in a couple of days what to do about this?
I can't believe you had mentioned this, and he's putting that kind of dollar figure on there.
Well, I think both of y'all need to work on this now, come up with different ideas and stuff, that we get a look at that tanker truck. I have a little problem getting a second tanker truck when they've got a good one.
Well, and
I know that's a good truck.
I'm not knocking anybody or any department or anything else, but Five Star a lot of times has trouble finding drivers or volunteers to take care of the vehicles they've got.
And it's over there on 1200, the new station out there.
Yeah.
Just having no sure feels good about anything out on the north side of that going into probably over here, and then in Cookville, they both help it. Y'all need them.
Yeah.
You got a good response from the fire department. Five Star just don't have the numbers.
They don't have the numbers.
What's y'all's thoughts on this $12,000 expense needs for football?
Well, my thoughts on it, and this is just me, I think that after we made Sugar Hill borrow the money, if they want to do that, I think we need to do that. I don't think we need to put that much money in their budget just for their maintenance. Nobody else asked for maintenance money, as far as that kind of money for vehicles and all.
Well, that's the way I see it. I wanted to know if there was something different about this that we should look at it differently.
I can't believe, though, that computer cost that much to fix it or to do it. It's an interference, and I just can't believe the right person couldn't figure out how to get that.
Sugar Hill got an engine about the same time we got ours through a FEMA grant. And that was in 2003 or 4 or something other like that. They've already had to put an engine in it, and the engine was $8,600, I think. I kind of expected Jerry to say something, but I don't think he wanted to get anything started. So I was going to talk to him, but I know they paid for that out of their fundraisers and all. They paid for that engine out of that, because at first he told us, he said, I don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to park it, I guess, because we can't do that. And they finally got enough money together that they put went into the engine or put another one in it. Or I don't remember exactly what they did, but it was
The truck they got now, if you can't get off the pavement, what they give for that? What they want to pay for all that? Big truck.
Oh, the big one? TFS give them the truck. Now, I don't know what they spent. There's no telling what they spent to get that truck up in operation.
That's just overkill. I just think
That's a blue truck?
The pink one? The pink one? The pink truck?
You're talking about Cookville, right?
Yeah. It's a high water rescue truck.
Okay.
But it does have a tank and everything on it, and it can get out in the pastures if it's not wet.
But, we spend a lot of money, air on that, it's me.
Well, that's, when I saw this, that's what I thought. I thought, man, if this, because I think that he said that it was about 3 months ago when we done pump tests and all that at Tri Lakes, and I think that they've been working on that truck now well, they just got it in service, and I think the Forestry Service give it to them maybe back in December, January, and they've been working on it all this time, putting tank, and I think Wesley done a lot of that in his shop and all, but they've still got a lot of money tied up in it that they needed to, as far as I'm concerned, to have done that.
That's all it is, just a shovel truck, all that is. Come out and
Acting like it's now, it's $50,000, $180, whatever $1,000 truck. I mean, he's really proud of that vehicle, but I don't think anybody else is.
Well, no, that's your right. It's just like a hot rod. You want a hot rod, you build one. You just want to drive around. You do something that's different. That's just a big overkill for the truck there.
Well, would you be willing to front them the money to be paid back with a no interest loan?
I'd be willing to do that.
I guarantee you the price comes back down. If we done that.
We always lady to make how long of a term.
Do we need to budget that if we agree? Let's just say that we knew it was going to be $10,000.
The law would say take it out of contingency, or we would just do it. That's what we would have to, with the money, we would do out of contingency.
Sounds like it needs to be repaired now.
Yeah, from what they're just saying, from the letter that I was looking at. So it would be like, we don't have it budgeted anywhere, so the only place we could get it from is the contingency.
Didn't you have a fundraiser a couple months or a month ago?
In March. I don't know what they got out of it. Normally, in the past, they've got somewhere between $10,000 and $13,000. And I think it's been a little higher than that, but they really work their fundraiser and really have a good fundraiser. Them and Tri-Lakes too. We've tried and can't do anything. We can't get people out to do anything hardly. We've even offered free hamburgers and just for people to come and let us explain what we do and how we do it and see our equipment, and we'll have a few.
I thought we were doing pretty good at driving.
He's not talking about money.
What?
Volunteers.
Yeah, with volunteers.
Yeah, he's talking about.
I'm talking about with fundraising.
Well, fundraising. Well, we do real good at fundraising.
Y'all have always done good. Then y'all in Cookville too, and Sugar Hill used to, but they don't do as good as they used to.
I think it's all credit to the auctioneer, but.
Vortex have any changes? I don't have.
No, I talked to Laney. I come by up here. I knew Carolyn. I tried to get a hold of him the day before she left. I guess it was on Tuesday before the 4th, and then she was gone the rest of the week. And I come by on Thursday, and Brian was gone, and then Friday morning when I come back.
She gave us. I just hadn't looked through.
No, that's that's probably the other deal that I had on the drug testing and all. That's something else, Brian, that I would like for us to try to.
You want me to put that on the agenda?
Well, I would like for us to try to get I've talked to these two companies, one out of Longview and this other one is, I haven't talked to the lady yet. I called her Friday and she was out and I hadn't had a chance to call her back today. But the girl that I did talk to said that they did have somebody that could come and do a workshop where we could all be together on this and not me just coming up with all these questions that we have gotten from TAC, Diane Cecil when we met, me and Sharon met with her, Sharon took notes and all on that. This is some of the questions that she, but we're going to have to, it'll have to be put on the agenda. And I think we probably need to get something worked out where we can get it in the budget, the cost and all of it. But we just need to I think we need to get these two companies here for a workshop and have Roger here too to talk to these folks and ask them some of these questions about some of this stuff as far as the cost and all of that. Because I don't want to be the one that says, hey, we need to go with this company or that company. I want all of y'all to to look at it and know yourselves kind of what we're looking at. I have got a policy here that TAC sent us that Christie got run off for me and all, but it's a policy there. I don't have it in this other copies here. This is just some rules and policy requirements and whatnot that's here with this, and I'm going to give y'all to look over. But as soon as we can set up a workshop, I think we need to do so. And they both said that they would come. Just let them know when they need to be here. So.
Discuss and possibly take action on, how do I describe this?
CDL drug policy, maybe. I guess that would.
Drug testing policy.
Drug testing policy, CDL drug testing policy.
Roger still doing that? Or is our drug policy?
We don't have it.
We don't have a drug policy. And it can cost us big time money for not having one if DOT comes in and audits us.
Always have a drug policy. You have an accident, you go get drug tested.
Well, that's not it though. That's just one little thing. You need to look at this and see what.
Discuss and possibly take action on development of CDL drug testing policy. I'll put that on the next agenda. You can present to us what you found, and then we can decide then, okay, let's bring both of these companies in. At the next meeting, we'll have a workshop.
I mean, even us as commissioners, if we drive any of the trucks, we have to do it too. We have to. This is in the federal policy, DOT policy. That, and Al probably knows this since he's dealt with all of it and all. But we have to go through a training ourselves to be able to spot somebody that possibly on drugs or been drinking or whatever. It's not but just, I think, 4 hours or something other like that. But that's what Diane said we needed to find out was, is this cost that they're going to give us here to do this, is that training included in that cost and all of that kind of stuff. But I've got a copy of all the questions and all here that she told us that we needed to ask.
Part of that, and I may be wrong on it, but some of those companies, you get a cheaper rate if you're like through the community, like camp, or there's other areas that are using them, and they're in the pool, and it can still be.
You throw you in a pool, and you don't test as often. Both of these companies do that. You're thrown into the pool. Yeah.
So this is developing basically a random drug testing regimen.
It's a pre-employment, post-employment, and post-accident drug testing.
Not random, just
Yes, it is random. It's the 4 things, yeah. So, and I'm going to give y'all copies, in fact.
Does that include elected officials?
Huh?
If you drive a truck.
If you drive a truck or have your CDL license, yes, it does.
All elected officials involved in it too.
Christy, did you say y'all had one of these? I mean, I don't know that you need it, but.
Say you work
This
for
is
the
going
county,
to
they'll
be
give you.
Yeah.
a couple of handouts for y'all.
There's some of the policies that, like our handbook, it says, to see the actual policies, the auditor's office, just to let y'all know, we don't have policies in our office. All we have is our handbook. So this is just, and this was a topic that I'm going to talk to Brian and Carl about, which is maybe I'm overreacting. But this is just one policy. There may be other policies that maybe we should have in place that are separate, rather than what our handbook is a little sentence that says. And my concern is, if we're at liability on this, what other policies out there that the court needs to write up and approve, actually have a policy for certain things. So I'm just
I
kind
don't think
of.
Diane would bring that to our attention.
Well, that could be, because I was going to get with her and say, hey, what policies did you see that the county should have set up and in place? Because sometimes when we're doing these questionnaires and grants and everything, so what does your policy say about this? We don't have a policy. And then it said, refer to auditor's office. If we're going to be the ones that write up, I know y'all have to approve it, but we don't have the staff. I mean, I'll do it on Saturday. But, I mean, if we need to write the policy and do all the work on it, the legwork on it,
that's the deal with this. I don't want to do a whole lot of publicity on it, per se, because of us not being in compliance with it. We have got to get in compliance with this, and this should have been done years ago, but it hasn't been.
And just because you might have it, if it's not in my office or approved by the court, I mean, that's one
my hands at any time I go to the
section.
Anytime any of my hands, there was fender or bump or whatever, they'll get tested.
So that's just one part of it, though.
What can be approved, it doesn't matter.
If I call
What if they said we can't make you do that?
you're at will, I can fire you anytime I want to.
I think that's a DOT rules.
It is, and you'll see that in that y'all have got there. You can see.
The counties have.
And that was on my agenda, that's one of the things I'm going to improve on, whether it comes to my office or court, it's going to be a mutual thing, because we don't have control of that, but it's just like, we had an incident where Brian and I talked about having the forms to write an employee up, just as simple as that is, the direction of it is we need to have a form that everybody has, and everybody understands that you can't just come in and I'm not getting off in that, but anyway.
You're more likely to get an department head to write somebody up if they have a form and they
Right, so we need to do that. So, I mean, it's like,
And see, that's
any form that we come up with, you as the court's going to have to approve it. We can't
This-
do that, so.
this deal that Christie got from me here, put together for me here from TAC. It's got that. This is observed behavior, reasonable suspicion. It's got all these 5, 6, 7 different deals there. There's another one for employee notification letter for required CDL holders. I mean, all of that is in this policy that TAC had. They just sent it to Christie, and Christie printed it off. But I've got this here. If y'all want copies of this, I'll get Carolyn and it's got, this one here that they've got, it's got Blaine County CDL drug, the package in there. Shut up.
I would like to have.
Okay. Let me take this in there and let Carolyn make all of that.
Okay, what else for today?
But not just what I'm saying. I took my hands, if I call you at 2 o'clock in the morning, you had a beer or 2 beers, you tell me you can't come, that's all. You can't come, that's it.
But you would agree we need to get this turned into 2018.
It's way back there, I talked to him, we needed some type of policy. Philip, we were working on the Tennessee Road over there, car pulled right up behind it. He put it in reverse and barely hit him, make a difference. He had to go get a drug test. And I said, if you want me to, I'll take a drug test, because I'm not going to tell you to do something if I can't do it myself. I'm not going to ask him to do something I won't do. And I think it ought to be for everybody.
Well, it should be, we still need to have something writing, because that ain't gonna hold up in a lawsuit. I said that won't hold up in a lawsuit, and we need to have a policy.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying in that policy, I would, everybody
Probably should have it in their employee handbook.
And that along
Just
with
revised.
we're talking about this policy, I do want to get down to Cecil to talk about any other policies that we should have, that we need to be working on, that could be just like this, bill liability. And if we need to work on it, I'll need to talk to him. I mean, Carl, he brought it here, but I mean, that's bothering me. I got everything else down, but just to have a policy that we should have, that if something happens, whether you fired somebody the wrong way, or the CDL, or just any unknown policies that we need to have. I want to get to have a shelf that I have a policy, But, I'm just, and maybe I shouldn't be, y'all tell me if I'm too.
Well, you can ask her, I mean, ask her if there's anything.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. She's going to be here at the end of September to talk about sexual harassment training. And so I talked to Sharon that we may just kind of wait.
We have a date on that?
26 at the end, 26, 27, something like that. You know, you had, and I'm not saying we were.
Wednesday the 26th.
Okay, it was somewhere through there. But even though we don't have an HR, I'm not here complaining about we're not HR, I'm not doing that. It's just, we are responsible, somebody has to be, so I just want to make sure that we have everything lined up.
Make sure all bases are covered.
That we're covered, and I just have a gut feeling wrong. So I'm just let y'all know ahead of time that I will be talking to her. And when we do need to put policies together, then I will need y'all. So,
She told me that she would be more than willing to help with any of this, anything else,
yeah, and
you
she's
know.
wonderful. If there's I was going to tell her to give me a list of all policies that our county needs to make sure we're up to date on, that we need to have, and that every employee understands, and she can do that. And I just wanted y'all to know that that's kind of my, in between everything else we're doing, that I know to incorporate that also. You know, maybe say, our handbook's good enough, go on, forget about it. But I gotta go.
That'll be our decision. All right, remember 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'll begin with that subdivision deal if she gets her stuff done.
Do I need to
Motion made
tell
by-
Ingram not to come and write it down?
Recess.
Or does it matter?
We shouldn't be long with that,
How
so,
long would it take long?
yeah, it shouldn't be long.
Motion was made by Dana to recess this budget hearing until tomorrow, the 10th of July, and seconded by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye. Aye.